Okay, we're recording. We will start by doing the flag salute. Everybody up. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag
of the United
of
States
the
of
United States of
America
America
and
and to the republic
for which it
for
stands,
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty and
and
justice for all.
Thank you.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by postings on the bulletin board in the entrance hall of the Beach Haven Municipal Building and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times and the Asbury Park Press. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision for each individual application. Decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Roll call, Mrs. Eddles,
Here.
Mr. Horensky, Mrs. Lenhard,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
Here.
Mr. Pisano,
Here.
Mr. Stevens,
Here.
Mrs. Baxter,
Here.
Mr. Meadow,
Here.
Mrs. Ballmiller,
Here.
Mr. Jenna,
Here.
Mr. Tanquist,
Here.
Mr. Bobo,
Here.
and Mr. LaFredo.
I thought he said a text and said he'd make it, but maybe he's had problems.
Yep.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Lauren is so good about getting these minutes out on time, which is amazing. Could I have a motion for approval of the minutes for the November 1st meeting?
I so move, Penny.
Second, Jerry.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved.
Okay, next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. The bills. Did everybody have a chance to look over the bills?
Yes,
Can I have a motion for approval of the bills?
I make a motion to approve the bills.
Second, Tom.
All right,
Thank
Mrs. Eddles,
Yes.
Mrs. Lenhard,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
Yes,
Mr. Pisano,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Baxter,
Yes.
Mr. Meadow,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballmiller,
Yes.
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
Mr. Tanquist,
Yes.
and Mr. Bobo. Mr. Bobo?
Jamie?
Yes, I'm not muted. Yes,
Okay,
All right, minutes or bills approved.
thank you. The following application has been reviewed by the three-person review board. The Dune Market, which is at 414 North Bay Avenue, has been approved to sell home decor, clean beauty, beach accessories, paper goods, and books. Moving along to old business, we have three resolutions that need approval tonight. Has everybody had a chance to read the resolutions? 2021-16, 106 North Bay Avenue, which was the little coffee shop that wanted to have tables on the top. Has everybody had a chance to read the resolution? Bob is so good about getting them out on time. Can I have a motion to approve resolution 2021-16?
I so move, Penny.
Second,
Second.
yeah,
thank you.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Eddles,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
yes,
Mrs. Lenhard,
Yes.
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
Mr. Tanquist.
Yes.
Okay, resolution approved.
Thank you. The next resolution, 2021-17, was 125 5th Street. That was the house in the historical district that was adding a dormer in the back for approval. Does everybody have a chance to read it? I hope. And there were some minor changes made to that after initially being written, and I hope everybody had a chance to see those. Could I have a motion for approval?
I so
Motion
move,
approved.
Penny.
Second? I'll
Second.
second. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Pisano,
Yes.
Mrs. Eddles,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonhard,
Yes.
and Mr. Jenna.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
The final resolution is 2021-18, 314 Cove Lane. I believe that resolution, that application was denied. I hope everybody had a chance to read that over. Can I have a motion for approval?
Bonnie, just on this one, only three of you
Yeah.
are going to vote on this. The three that voted no on the application, it needed 5 to carry. 4
Right.
voted yes, 3 voted no, so it didn't carry. So
So
Bonnie,
the three
you,
that
you,
voted
Jim, and Gary.
no, I believe were Jimmy, myself, and
Jerry.
maybe
And
Jerry.
Jerry.
Gary.
Gary.
Okay. Okay. Lauren?
Okay, Mr. Stevens,
Do we have to first and second it first?
You should, just as a formality, it's only the three of you, but go ahead and make it first and second, just to make it formal.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
all right, Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonhard,
Yes.
and Mr. Jenna.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
All right, our first application tonight is 2021-20 Rodas, I believe is 421 Center Street. The property is currently developed with a single-family dwelling. The applicant is seeking to elevate and renovate the existing home. The roof line of the second story is being raised, thereby increasing the volume of the second story to match the first story. A second story deck is also proposed above the existing first story deck. The detached apartment at the rear yard will be demolished. This is a D variance, and Nicole and Jamie Bowmiller will not be able to participate in this application. Okay. Who's representing this application?
Good evening, James Rabin on behalf of the applicant, Maria
you.
Rodas and George Manalakos, sorry.
Jim, if you don't mind, I'm going to swear Frank in. We'll get that out of the way.
Sure.
Mr. Little, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And Jim, if you don't mind, I got a couple, I'll pre-mark the exhibits.
Sure.
The development application is going to be A1. Okay, the Nelke Tiska survey dated October 16th, 20 will be A2. Rob Roth architectural plans will be A3. And then your notices are A4. I checked the notices over, everything's in order. Frank Little's letter will be board exhibit 1, B1. Thank you.
Thank you. So the subject property is located at 421 Center Street. As Bonnie noted, there's an existing single-family dwelling on the property, and then in the rear, there's actually a small apartment which the applicant is proposing to remove as part of the application. And it's an older home that is in disrepair to a certain extent. What the applicant's trying to do is improve the property. Currently, it's below the base flood elevation. The applicant's proposing to raise it above the base flood elevation and also to gain some additional space on the second story of the existing main principal structure. The footprint of the home is not proposed to change as part of the application. They're simply looking to expand the roof line of the second story within the footprint of the house so that they can acquire some additional living space, make it more practical to live up there, because it's very tight on the second floor as it is right now. And because the property is undersized at 2,840 square feet, the floor area ratio is also over, where we're already over. Mr. Roth is going to testify. Currently, it's at 62%. And while the roof line's changing, basically the floor area ratio is staying the same, but the volume of that second story is increasing. And because of that, that's why we need the special reasons variance for the increase in the volume. We're expanding the floor area ratio in that sense. And that's the variance we're requesting. We're also requesting a variance for the building coverage, even though that's going down substantially. Right now, we are at 51.3%. That's going all the way down to 41.55%. And again, it's a very small lot at less than 3,000 square feet, where 4,000 square feet is required. So that's a hardship to the applicant. And Leon Tiska is going to testify regarding the variance plan. As I stated, Mr. Roth will testify regarding the renovation itself. And then the applicant is present as well to testify. First, I'll call Leon Tiska.
Mr. Tiska, let me just find you here. Mr. Tiska, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And do you want to just, Jim, do you want to just ask the board to consider his credentials and accept them?
Yes, please. Mr. Tiska has testified many times before this board.
Bonnie?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tiska, for the benefit of the board, if you could just give an overview of what exists currently at the site and how things are changing with the proposed renovation.
Right now existing is a 1.5 story, what we call a 1.5 story frame dwelling. It's with a 8 by 24 foot porch in the front and steps leading to the front of the house. In front of that, in the back, there's a 1 story part addition on that back of the house. There's also a 1 story frame dwelling, 17.7 by 10.2 square feet on the back right corner of the house that we're intending to remove. So it's not a duplex anymore. On the east side of the house, there's a 13 by 5 foot deck, a raised deck with steps leading down to the rear of the house, which will be also removed to allow parking on that side of the house. They're also removing steps and a portion of a landing in the back of the rear of the house, the 1 story section, to have just a 16.2 by 5 foot 1 story and less 1.6 feet that is there right now. Okay, what's proposed is to raise the house. So right now, the first floor is at 8.2, which is below the base flood, and they're proposing to raise the first floor to 14.2 feet, having a slab below it at 5.2 feet. So the house will be enclosed below it. They're proposing to keep the front porch of the house, but making it more the width of the house. Right now, I don't think it's at that full width. Actually, it does say it's at the full width. All right, so they want to keep the front porch, but to get into the house, the front steps are not practical anymore, but they're going to keep the front, instead of a 5.8 foot front steps, they're going to have a 3.3 foot landing with steps going off to the east to almost the last step will be over into the setback. It'll still be at 10 feet. The height of the house is at existing right now at 23.3, and they're proposing the height of the house to be at 35. The existing house is basically the second floor. It looks like just 1 peak, which they will be squaring it off to have a height of 35 feet. That's about what I figure I could cover.
Thank you, Mr. Tiska. And you may have covered this, excuse me, the lot coverage is decreasing from 51.3% to 41.55%, the building coverage?
That's correct.
Okay. And there was a question in Mr. Little's letter about the curb and sidewalk. I can represent that the applicant plans to replace the existing curb and sidewalk. And the proposed curb cut would be in the place of the existing curb cut, which is where the driveway is on the right-hand side of the house, where the cars are proposed to be parked.
So quick question, it's Frank Little.
Sure.
On the proposed condition plan, it's still showing the steps where one of the parking spaces is, but the architectural plans don't show any steps coming down on that side. So are those
We're
steps also being
basically-
removed? Right?
I'm sorry. We are showing, it appears to be one step over into that side yard, but I don't think you can really tell how it would be until it is built, and it can be built, so it's in line with that side of the house.
Yeah,
Even if-
Leon, I wasn't concerned about those steps. On the right side of the house in the back, there's a set of stairs shown on the proposed plan. I don't believe they're on the architecturals.
Well, Frank, it looks like the steps are running into the parking space.
Well, yeah, in the rear of the property.
I don't see that myself, but if they were, those steps would be coming out of the house there and would be going down, not blocking the parking space.
I don't know if you can see this, but I'm looking at right in the very back, right here.
Right.
But I don't think the architectural plans show any steps coming down.
Yeah, if I could just swear in Rob Roth just to answer this question, and then we can get back to Mr. Tiska.
Okay. Mr. Roth,
Okay.
you there?
Where Mr. Roth in?
Mr. Roth? I don't see you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I think you're muted, Rob.
Yeah, I don't hear you.
Yeah, you're still muted, Rob. I'm sorry.
Okay. Mr. Roth, you're still muted.
All right, well, we're waiting for Mr. Roth to unmute himself. Still have a question about the front porch.
Sure.
The old front porch is 8 by 24. You said they wanted to keep that, but in the front on the new drawings, it
Oh,
still looks like
The front porch is 8 by 24. The deck on the second floor above that porch will be only 16 by actually it's 16 by 7.5. So the front porch is existing, the second floor porch is smaller.
Okay, so that's really the second floor that's
I
lined
don't,
out at
I
16
don't see
by
any
what?
step, yeah, I don't see any steps on the east side, so I guess, and I do see something where they will be removed. On sheet A2 says those steps will be removed.
Okay, those are the steps in the back rear corner then.
That's
Okay.
correct. That's
All right,
correct.
that matches the architectural plan and it won't interfere with the exterior parking space.
And we will revise that on the plan.
Okay,
So we need that plan cleaned up.
all right.
Okay, did we get Mr. Roth on? He's still struggling?
That was me last month. Struggling.
Mr. Rabin, what do you want to do?
Are there any further questions for Mr. Tiska at this point?
I have a quick question. Does removing those steps affect the exiting from the house in the rear?
I don't believe so, and that's what I'm trying to have Mr. Roth clarify. I don't believe that those stairs are supposed to be there on that right side in the proposed. The only purpose they serve was to access that.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
I hate this Zoom stuff.
Okay, so Mr. Roth, the steps that,
Jim, let me swear him in, Jim.
oh, sure, thank you.
Okay, Rob, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do. Robert B. Roth Jr., registered architect, professional planner, State of New Jersey, with offices in Brant Beach. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And you've been sworn in before, Bonnie. You recognize him as an expert, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And Mr. Roth, there's been discussion about the stairs. There's existing stairs on the east side that access the deck on the east side. The deck's being removed. Are those stairs being removed entirely also?
The stairs on the side, yes, you can see that on my drawing. They are being removed.
Okay.
That was a secondary access to that second floor. My plan doesn't show the existing stair, which is very tight, and we're replacing that with a new stair. So yes, that deck and stair on the easterly side is going away.
Okay, so Mr. Tiska's plan will be updated to reflect that as well.
I don't have Leon's drawing in front of me.
Where's the back door to this house?
The back door was off of the landing. You can see it in the back there. It's dashed. There were
Right.
steps that go up in the back to a landing and in a back door. The new design has proposed an interior staircase, which goes down under that existing back area. So we're reducing the square footage of the house again.
So if I have trash in my kitchen, how do I get it out?
You go down the stairs that are now being proposed inside that goes to the downstairs enclosure. Do you have the floor plans?
Yeah, I'm looking at the floor plans right now. I see down
Can
the
you put
tread.
them up on the screen, please?
Yes, I have about 4 different pages. Which page would you like me to flip? So I have
I
the first floor
want
plan.
I want
second-
sheet A4. No, next one. Yes, there. You can see that in the back in the kitchen, we've created a laundry room, and in there, there is an interior stair that goes down and out to a new back door, which is
Okay.
underneath that first floor area.
So that's underneath where if you raise the house, how many feet did you want to raise it? 14 feet?
No, we're only raising it approximately 9 feet.
To 14.2?
Yeah, we're currently at 8.2. We're going to 14.2.
Right.
And the requirement is 9 plus freeboard, which is 10.
So
we're
those stairs go down underneath this raised portion of the house and out a
Yes.
door?
Can we go back one sheet? Okay, you can see on the right side of that plan, those stairs coming down. If you can push that so we
Down
can
a
see the
little
top.
bit.
No, the other way, please. Other
The
way.
other way. There.
There, you can see that's where that stair comes out.
Okay. All right. And the stairs on the east side are gone. So you
Yes.
can pull cars in there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, with the removal of the apartment, we could actually get 3 cars in there.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
No.
Hey, you're muted.
And that, actually, Mr. Roth, if you could just give an overall description of the renovation, particularly with respect to the second floor, because that's where the floor area ratio comes into play.
Sure. If you could put that next sheet that has the second floor on. Currently, the second floor is an open space. Now, next one. There you go. What we're basically going to be doing is removing that existing second floor and rebuilding the wall so that we can gain usable space. The house is very tight. On the first floor, basically the living area is very, very tight. Can we go back one sheet? Thank you. You can see the proposed living space goes all the way across the 24 foot of the house. There is a bedroom currently to the left there. We're taking that bedroom out so we can get a bigger living area and moving that bedroom upstairs. Also creating a master bedroom and a guest room, along with a bathroom and a master bath. We're not going outside the footprint. The way that the ordinance reads with regards to habitable space, it's my opinion that the second floor is already there, so we haven't increased it. Given the fact that the lot is so small, I find as a professional planner, that is a true hardship, in as much as we can't get a house that has, a nice layout that the clients are looking to, eventually move here year round, to have a house that's of usable space. So I felt that this was a good variance to ask for. If you go to the 50% living area ratio on a 28-foot, 100 square foot lot, that's a pretty tiny little house. Where most people are allowed, the 50 by 100 or 40 by 100, so much more space. And again, I don't feel that we're overly crowding this lot with this second floor, given the fact that we're raising it above base flood, we're reducing lot coverage. We're actually adding permeable ground, so it's better draining. I just think that this is a really good direction to take with this house. We've tried to maintain the flavor of the look of the house to keep in touch with old Beach Haven, which I adore, and I think that this is a great asset to the town.
Mr. Roth, do you see any negative impact to any of the surrounding property owners?
None whatsoever. Simply stated before, we're reducing lot coverage. We're creating permeable space as opposed to non-permeable like pavers and driveways and stuff. It's all going to be grass. It's all going to drain nicely. I think it's an enhancement to the neighborhood.
And overall, the exterior of the home is going to be greatly improved over what's there now, correct?
Yes, I'll be all new siding and finishings and so on and so forth. The house is going to be completely brought up to code. I just think there's so many pluses in this that the fact that we are over that 50% by 10% is something that could be entertained. And I hope the board entertains that nicely.
Are you going to raise this and put it on pilings?
We're going to raise it in place on block foundation.
The
I
foundation?
find that if the house is on a block and a foundation, adding block to it is a more stable home than pilings.
And you had an engineer check the foundations?
Yes, I am also a structural engineer, and I checked everything already.
Do you put those vents underneath when you do block like that?
We have to provide flood venting, yes, in the enclosed
okay.
area, and they are proposed.
Okay.
Again, this will completely meet all of the current building codes,
Okay.
which the house does not meet today.
Right. So all the bedrooms on the second floor have egress windows?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, the house as it sits now does not have an egress window in any of those rooms.
Right.
The new house will, including the renovated bedroom on the first floor.
Okay.
Being a fireman, I insist on stuff like that.
Okay.
And Mr. Roth, there's also a note in Mr. Little's letter that there are no air conditioning units shown on the plan. Where will those be located?
They will be located underneath that area in the back where the stairs come down. So they will be under the house.
Is that, you mean the compressor thing that most people have outside is going to be?
Yeah, we're putting it underneath the house so it's not bothering everybody.
Well, yeah, but is that good for the air conditioning unit?
Oh, no, you can do that. They're basically fans, and that's an outside space. So they'll get plenty of ventilation.
Okay.
We do it all the time, actually. I mean, actually, the best place is on the roof. The second
Right.
best place is, outside or underneath.
Okay.
It's really not that big of a house, so therefore the condensers aren't going to be that big.
Is there just one? Is it a split
No, there'll be
system
two,
or
one for each floor.
one for each floor? And
Yes, ma'am.
okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, this is Tom. The air conditioning condensers being in such a confined area, are they going to be the really quiet ones? I know there's ones that are some of them are quieter than others decibel levels.
Yeah, we'll be striving for the quiet ones and upgrade again. Most houses, the air conditioning systems are 4, 5, 6 ton. this house is probably going to be like 1 ton per floor. So they're going to be small. They're going to be quiet. And really the
Okay.
only people that are going to hear it are the people in the house.
What's the
We have an
total
issue in
square
town
foot,
with-
living square footage of the house? Both floors?
What's the total square footage?
I'm looking.
Oh,
Total living area is going to be 1,778 square feet, which
And
is tiny.
is the top floor wider than the
No.
second floor?
No, as a matter of fact, the top floor is smaller in as much as the back section sticks out and we have roof on that. So we're really only doing a small, we're following the footprint of the existing first floor. And if you were to imagine that area in the back was an addition, we're not putting a second floor over that addition where the laundry room is proposed.
Can we just go back to the elevation view?
Yeah, see, it's,
It appears to be wider on
That
this.
it appears to be wider because of the roofing detail. The roof overhangs make it look wider. The house is not wider.
what about
I
the
see.
decks? Do the decks make it look wider?
The deck is a small deck. Unfortunately, I used a detail of a raised seam roof, and it does look like that second floor is wider. But if you look at the windows, you can see where the house stops. Put it this way, my testimony is that it is no larger than the first floor.
Well, if you look at the back, it looks the exact same size, but if you're looking at the front, it does look wider.
Right,
It is
it's
not wider.
Okay.
It's the roof detail that it's
It's the
sort of,
roof detail and the column detail.
right.
So what I'm looking at is, and the reason I'm asking that question, when you consider the side setbacks, and I know you're slightly under the 16 feet total, it just looks like the top floor would infringe upon that. That's the reason why I'm asking.
Top floor is no bigger than the first floor. That's roof overhang.
And the roof overhang doesn't count in the side setback?
No, it does not.
Are there any further questions?
Yeah, Rob.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
Rob, I just a question for the record. If you were to reduce this house to 50%, how much of it would you be losing? Would you be losing
We
one
would
bedroom,
lose
two
half of the
bedroom?
second floor.
So you'd be losing 2 bedrooms
Yeah,
conceivably, right?
exactly.
All right.
And my
And
question,
I think that's unfair for this size lot.
my quick question was, the final total height of the house is 35 feet?
That is correct. That's what we're permitted.
And also, is there enough parking now that you had extra bedrooms?
We have 3 spaces.
Okay.
You only show 2 though on the plan.
We're
Well,
only
the-
required to show 2, but there is room for 3.
Okay.
True.
And so are they using, I see these doors on the side, I guess it's the east elevation, that's all under there is where they're using storage. And they're
That
going to
is
have
storage. Yes,
no,
ma'am.
and there will be no garage in the front that pulls in. So there's
It
no,
wasn't practical to create a garage in the front due to the design of the home.
okay.
And we're
Okay,
trying to
so,
maintain as much of the existing character as we could.
okay, comment. The ordinance requires 2 parking spaces for the number of bedrooms in this home. But if you add a 3rd parking space, our ordinance indicates that that's impervious surface, which means your impervious lot coverage calculation would increase. So
Then
if
we'll
you
only
are
do
gonna,
two-
if you
We'll
are
only do
gonna,
there will only be 2 parking spaces then. This is all grass and it's going to remain grass.
I understand. I'm just letting you know, if you want that 3rd space, we need to increase the impervious coverage.
Okay, I guess
portion
what I
of
was
the
trying to, I'm sorry, Frank. I guess what I was trying to say is we have room for 3 parking spaces, but we're proposing 2.
All right, just wanted to clarify. If you want the third space, that's not a problem. We just have to increase the coverage.
Nope, we're good. We only need two. The only reason I said it is because you get a lot of people, get extra people coming down, so on and so forth. There's a lot of parking on this street.
All right.
Okay, is there any more questions from the board before I open to the public?
Yeah,
I have one more question.
Okay, Jim.
It's
okay.
Jerry.
My question goes back to my original one. If for some reason you find that this foundation is not sound enough or not whatever, and you have to either redo the foundation or put it on piles, are you willing to move it back so it meets the front setback?
That would not, put it this way, the existing footing and the existing foundation system, in essence, what happens when the house gets raised, we lose that first top row of block, and then we go on top of that. I've already checked it, everything's fine. There is no intention to move this house in any direction, keeping it in place.
Okay.
If there's no further questions.
I believe on the survey, most of the houses are at the same distance off the street as we are.
Bonnie,
Okay,
I have a question.
yes, go ahead, Jerry.
It's really a question for Frank. So Frank, when it comes to the setbacks on the property, is that a correct statement that the architect made, that the roof line does not really matter in those setbacks and that it's just the structure of the house?
Yes, you basically get, I believe, up to 18 inches of roof overhang. Once you
24.
Or 24. Once you get beyond 24, then it counts. So most builders are going to make it between 18 and 24 so that the roof overhang doesn't get involved in the setback.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Yep.
Okay, any more questions from the board?
If there's no questions, I would just like to briefly call the applicant, George Manalokas and Maria Rodas.
Okay,
Hold
Hello.
on, hold on. Can you raise your right hand, please? Each of you?
Tired of listening over there.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. And you just state your name and address for the record for us.
My name is Maria Rodas. The address of the Beach Haven is 421 Center Street, Beach Haven, New Jersey.
Thank you.
And my name is George Basil Manolakos, and same address.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Rodas and Mr. Manolakos, how long have you owned the subject property?
I believe it was August 15, 2017.
Okay, and right now, when you purchased it, there was an existing little apartment in the rear there.
Yes, we love that.
But that's proposed to be removed as part of this application, right?
Yes. We're upset about that, but we're gonna do it.
And you're contemplating making this your primary residence? Is that the intention?
Yes, I mean, the minute we walked into the house, the thought was for us to get a retirement property and hopefully we'll, retire in 6 or 7 years. Fingers crossed. And even when we walked into the house, we knew that this house was ours, but we knew even though it is a small house, we do love it. We just wanted to make it for us to be able to live in it comfortably with our son and, the two of us.
Okay.
But this is, the plan is for our forever home. Like, we love Beach Haven. We love the community so much more, actually, other than the summer. We love it in the fall, the winter, Christmas time. It's like our favorite place to be. We actually never been to the island before until we started looking. We looked for 3 years from Maine to Delaware, and we landed here, and we just kind of fell in love with it. So, and we fell in love with this particular house, and we are trying really hard. That's why we didn't add a garage to it to keep, even though we're raising it and it won't be the same, we do love the look of it. So we tried really hard to keep somewhat of the style of the house to look like old Beach Haven. with trying to make it convenient for us as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of the applicant?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further witnesses.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to open this to the public for public comment?
Motion to open to public.
A second, Penny.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the public that would like to make a comment on this application?
I would. I just don't know how to. Am I supposed to raise my hand?
Yes, sir. Raise your hand, your right hand.
Raise your hand.
It's
Okay.
up.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and your name and address, please.
Patrick O'Donnell, 432 Dock Road, Beach Haven.
Thank you.
So I'm for this project. I don't know the applicants. I just know that I'm not a real big fan of the apartments, those little tiny apartments behind houses here in town. I'd like to see what they've done looks really nice, what Rob Roth has drawn. And I just would like to see it go through. That's it.
Thank you, Pat.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Lauren?
I do not see anybody else.
No?
See.
Okay, can I have a motion to close it to the public?
So move,
Motion
Penny.
to close.
Kenny and Joe. Okay. All right, the board, are there any last minute thoughts or suggestions or opinions or questions that you have on this application before I ask for a motion to approve or deny?
I went by the property on Friday and I took a look at the drawings, and quite frankly, I thought it was a nice job, the proposal.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, Bonnie, I went by and looked as well. I think I agree with the statements earlier by several people that this would be an improvement. And I
Good.
think they've taken a lot into consideration. Usually we have to argue about parking, we have to argue about coverage. No, I think it's very well thought out. I would agree. I think this is a plus.
Thank
Good,
you.
good. All right, can I have a motion to approve or deny this application?
I make a motion to approve the application.
Can I have a second?
I second
I'll
it.
second
Jamie.
Tom
Tom, whoever,
or Jamie.
or Jamie. Tom and Jamie.
And just so for the vote, the first 7 eligible members vote on this. It needs 5 affirmative votes out of the first 7. And
Right.
only 7, so. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Meadow,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Pisano,
Yes.
Mrs. Eddles,
Yes, and I hope you remain happy in Beach Haven.
Mr. Muha,
Yes.
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
and Mrs. Lenhard.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to having you as year-round members of the community. Thank you.
Application approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, moving along to application 2021-13, 207 North Bay Avenue, 203, 207, 20. Have you texted Jamie and Nicole?
Yep, I just let Nicole back in and I just let Jamie know right now to come back in.
Perfect, perfect. Blocks 155, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. The applicant currently operates the long-standing existing Chicken or the Egg restaurant at the site. The applicant is seeking to expand the existing restaurant to the north into the adjacent commercial unit that was most recently occupied as a salon. The primary reason for the proposed expansion is to accommodate for additional bathrooms, including stalls that are ADA compliant, which is the American Disabilities Act. In addition, there is an office and some additional seating proposed in the expanded space in the space on the corner of 2nd Street and North Bay Avenue The applicant is proposing to open a takeout pizza shop. There is no proposed seating in the pizza shop. It will be takeout only. Okay,
Let me just make a quick comment here. I talked to Jim Stevens today. He's going to step off this application for personal reasons.
correct, right.
Okay.
But Bob,
Yes,
stepping off, can he still make a comment in the public comment portion?
he and I spoke about that, yes.
Okay, yes, he can.
Yes, he can.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you. Good evening. James Raven on behalf of the applicant, Beach Haven Associates LLC. Did you want to mark any exhibits preliminarily, Mr. Shin?
Certainly. Your development application, November 2nd, 2021 will be A1. And that has a number of resolutions attached to it. This property's been before the board since 1973. A2, the architectural plans of Robert Musnug. They're dated May 6, 21. A3 is the survey of Joseph Barberari and Associates. That's October 23rd, 2021. And then there's a site plan from Joseph Barberari also. That's going to be A4. And then the notices, which Lauren and I both checked over, are fine. That's going to be A5. Frank Little's review letter will be B1, Board Exhibit 1, and that's November 9th, 2021. Thank you, Mr. Raven.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, Mr. Shin, which one, Mr. Musnug's drawing was A2 or A3?
That's going to be A2.
A2.
Now, Mr. Raven, I know Mr. Musnug's testified before our board. Has Mr. Barberari been before our board? Have you brought him before us before?
I'm not certain if he has. I know he's testified before other boards on the island. I'm not certain about Beach Haven.
We'll ask you to qualify him when he comes up.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so as stated, the subject property is the Chicken or the Egg restaurant. And what the applicant's proposing to do, we were most recently before the board in July of 2020. At that point, it was the proposed expansion into the takeout area, which is where the candy store was. So that's been in operation. That was in operation all summer, the takeout area there. What the applicant's looking to do is the existing restaurant space. The applicant has acquired the building next door to the north, which consists of 2 units. The more southerly of the 2 is a salon, and the applicant is looking to expand the existing restaurant into that salon space, which the primary purpose is right now in the Chicken or the Egg, there's only 2 single bathrooms in there. And you know the volume that's in there, it's simply not nearly enough to accommodate the patrons in the restaurant. So what we're proposing is in that new space to put ADA compliant bathrooms in there, and there will be basically 4 bathrooms, men's and 4 women's bathrooms in there. And in the men's and women's bathroom, there will be 1 ADA compliant stall as well. So it's a great improvement in that sense. It desperately needs these bathrooms in the restaurant. And then in that area, the applicant's also proposing an additional office as well as some additional seating in that area. As you know, there's always congestion out front of there, and the additional seating will help to alleviate that as well. And then on the corner where it was formerly Windcrest Homes, that may be the most recent tenant that was in there. And what the applicant's proposing there is to convert that to a takeout pizza shop where it would just be pizza slices and pies served out of there along with soda. That's the extent of the menu. There's no seating proposed in there. It'll strictly be takeout only. And the kitchen of the Chicken or the Egg will basically stay the same. There's pizza ovens proposed in the pizza shop. And the applicant's proposing the streetscape improvements as part of this application. So that'll definitely improve this section. It's a substantial portion of Bay Avenue there that will be updated with the streetscape improvements in the event the application is approved. So everything's permitted uses here. This is within the business district. All of the uses that are proposed are permitted. And as we know, there's no parking at this site, similar to a lot of the other locations on the boulevard in Beach Haven. The parking is not changing as part of this application. There's no increase in the number of required parking spaces. Regardless of what type of commercial use is in this space, the parking is going to be the same as it is now. And that's really the only variance we're requesting is for the parking, which isn't changing. There's also existing nonconformities relative to the impervious coverage as well as the setbacks. The applicant, Rob LaScala, is the managing member of Beach Haven Associates LLC. He's going to testify regarding the operation of the restaurant itself. And Patrick McClellan is going to testify regarding the site. And I also have Jeff Stiles, who's a licensed professional planner, who's going to provide testimony as well. We also have Joe Barberi, excuse me, if there's any questions regarding the survey. First, I'd like to start with Patrick McClellan to give a little overview of the site itself.
Okay, Mr. McClellan, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
And your name and address, please?
My name is Patrick McClellan, McClellan. Address is 11 Furler, Furler Street in Totowa, New Jersey.
Thank
you. Mr. McClellan, could you briefly state your qualifications to the board?
Certainly. I'm a 1989 graduate of the New Jersey Institute of Technology. I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey since 1994. My license is still active today. I'm the 50% owner of MCB Engineering Associates since 2002. And I have not had the pleasure before this board yet, but I have been before approximately 150 land use boards in the northern and central parts of New Jersey.
Thank you. I'd ask that the board accept Mr. McClellan's qualifications.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Mr. McClellan, we've marked as Exhibit A3 a site plan that's multiple pages that was prepared and is signed by you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And could you give a little description for the board of the overall site? I know there's multiple lots involved, just so they know exactly what we're talking about here as far as the property itself.
Certainly. The properties in question are 203, 207, and 211 North Bay Avenue. They're known as Block 155, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. They operate as 3 different properties at the moment. Lot 1 exists at 4,293 square feet. Lots 2 and 3 operate at 3,731 square feet, and lot 4 is 3,750 square feet. The properties, as you know, is in your BD zone, and they're all compliant for lot area, all compliant for lot frontage, and all compliant for lot width. Looking at the bulk requirements of the existing conditions, the side yard required is 0 feet, and these properties are fully developed to the side property line. The rear property line requirement is a minimum of 25 feet. The existing development on these properties, however, is 0 feet for each of the 3 buildings. The maximum coverage, building coverage for each of the properties allowable is 75%. As currently developed, the existing lot 1 is at 100%. The existing building on lots 2 and 3 is at 100%. And the existing lot 4 is 91.9%. We are proposing to modify the interior of these buildings, but there is no plan to modify the footprint of the building. These coverages and setbacks are going to remain as they are today. So there'll be no change to those bulk requirements.
And, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I could just keep going, or if you wanted the specific.
Sure, you can continue.
Okay, the, from an engineering perspective, this project is pretty straightforward, and Mr. Raven actually handled most of my testimony. Because the properties are fully developed and have 100% lot coverage, there's gonna be no change to that. There's gonna be no impact to stormwater management. There's gonna be, again, no changes to the building footprint. However, the project does propose to modify the frontage along North Bay Avenue and along Second Avenue to convert the existing sidewalk to your streetscape plan. The site plan calls out the use of paver stones and modification to the curb intersection at Second and Bay, and also the inclusion of some park bench, a street bench, and also some trash receptacles that are consistent with your ordinance. Those are all proposed. We did have a review letter from Mr. Little that I'd like to just take the board through quickly, if that's okay. So dated November 9, 2021, Mr. Little wrote a letter to the land use board, 3 pages. Page 1 of that letter is just primarily reciting the documents that were submitted and reviewed. Page 2 at the top simply indicates the scope of development, and just briefly for the record, new bathrooms in compliance with ADA, new seating and new office space are proposed. Renovations to modify the existing kitchen in the existing restaurant. The addition of 60 seats to create a total now of 164 seats in the restaurant. A takeout pizza area, as indicated, with 2 pizza ovens and a service counter. There'll be no seating in this area. And then bringing the property compliant with the borough streetscape ordinance to the extent required. Continuing on sheet 2 of the page, Mr. Little cites so the zoning criteria and indicates that variance is required for the maximum impervious lot coverage. It exists. We exceeded existing conditions, and it remains the same for proposed conditions. So I guess that's a little bit of housekeeping there. And then also for minimum rear yard setback, again, the existing lot is developed with a 0-foot rear yard, but however, 25 feet is required by ordinance. So again, a variance required for the existing nonconformity that's going to continue. Moving on to item 2, there's one comment here under the section of architectural plans that Mr. Little's asking for clarification, and that's the second paragraph that says, we note that the survey of the northerly property indicates that the front and rear of the structure contain a notch. However, the architectural plans indicate that these are incorporated in footprint. Testimony provided to clear up the discrepancy. If I could ask for the title sheet from the site plan to be put up, sheet 1. Actually, that'll do. That's good. Thank you. If you notice, again, there's 3 buildings that are hatched on this drawing. The one on lot 1, the one that's on lot 2 and 3, and the one that's on lot 4. The notches that Mr. Little are referring to are the front notch at the front of lot 4 on the northerly edge, and then also this notch on the rear of the building. But when you look at the architectural plan, you don't see these 2 notches, and that's a little confusing. But just to clarify to the board, that's because the architectural plan does not propose to make any changes to this portion of the building. This is a separate use, and if you look at the streetscape, you would see that this is the building, that the 2-story portion of the building that's recessed with the glass frontage. This is not, while it's part of the property, it's not part of the development of this application. So the architect's plan stops at the end of the salon portion of the building. So I hope that clears up the differences in the graphics of the site plan versus the architectural plan. Just briefly moving on, item number 3 regarding off-street parking. Mr. Little, for informational purposes advises that there's 19 parking spaces required and 0 are provided. And again, a variance is required for that. This is also an existing condition that is not exacerbated by the project. As you know, your ordinance requires 1 space for every 600 square feet of commercial space. This building isn't changing the commercial space. So we have the same requirement. The variance would be to continue an existing nonconformity. Number 4, sewer and water utilities, just a cautionary comment that it should be reviewed by the borough's sewer and water department. And they may have some comments about possibly replacing or upgrading the service. And if that's required by that department, the applicant would have no problem to comply with that. Moving on to comment number 5, under curb, sidewalk, and streetscape. The 2 comments in this section that are just worthy of mention are, 1, that Mr. Little at the end of the first paragraph says that if any portion of the curb is deteriorated or below design standards, it shall be removed and replaced at the direction of the borough engineer. A note shall be added to the plan. Not only do we agree with that, we actually do have a subtle note on the plan already that we can highlight and make a little bit more pronounced. But on sheet 2 of our plan, we actually state that. So we agree with that. And then the second paragraph under section 5 is a note that the streetscape will not require trees to be planted along the frontage. So we would offer to just amend the plan to remove any proposed street trees we have along the streetscape. And then finally, comment 6, additional approvals will be required from other agencies. And of course, the applicant will comply with all other agencies that are required.
Thank you, Mr. McClellan. I don't believe I have any questions. Are there questions for Mr. McClellan?
I have a question. This office in the back that they show in the plan, so that's not the cutout.
That's right.
That door
that is
that goes back, that door that opens from the office, that goes out into the cutout?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the part that Mr. Little was pointing out that was a little bit confusing because it's easy to spot that cutout on the site plan, and you got it. That's exactly right.
I mean, that's an awful small office, 10 by 7. That's more like a closet. I don't get that. But and the other cutout, like the wall on this drawing stops, and then you're saying that cutout is to the north of it.
That's correct. If there were a dotted line, maybe a dotted line on the architectural plan might have helped to be clarified. But if you were to offset the wall on the northern end of the architectural plan approximately 30 feet, that's where the property line would be. And between that property line and the wall of the architectural plan, that's where the adjacent, that's where the use is that's contained in this building on lot 4. That's not shown on the architectural plan.
So I remember this building. I know this building. I know the salon. And then there used to be like a gift shop next door that went back, which is where this cutout is shown on Bay Avenue. So that whole part of that gift shop is not being incorporated in this expansion.
Correct.
It's just the part where the salon was.
That is correct.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
What are the hours of operation for the pizzeria?
I'm going to call Rob LaScala next, he's the managing member of the applicant, so he can probably better answer that question.
Okay.
And another question I have on the drawings. Bunch of doors with nothing marked. Is that where the old bathrooms were?
Are you referring to the architectural plan?
Yeah.
I haven't had the pleasure of being inside. I might defer that one to the operator as well, Mr. Raven,
Okay.
if that's okay.
That's
All right.
fine, yes.
Okay,
I have a question.
yep, go ahead.
So in regards to the whole front facade of the building, who do I speak with about that? Because it's just, there's no kind of, you have the streetscape, which is great, but there's no conformity with each of these three buildings. I mean, the corner lot is stucco, then you have the candy shop with some awnings, and then you have the chicken or the egg with the front bricks, which I think looks really nice. And then you have the salon, which has this weird looking wave on the top of the roof. So Jim, who can I speak with? Like, who can answer that for me?
I can answer that for you.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we swear Rob in, Rob LaScala?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Snallow, I see Jeff's phone. Where are you here?
Yeah, it's Rob LaScala.
LaScala. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
And your name and address, please.
Robert LaScala, 29 Kelly Drive, Marlton, New Jersey, 08053.
Thank you. Mr. LaScala, the entity that operates the chicken or the egg is Beach Haven Associates LLC, and that's the applicant here. You're the sole member of that LLC?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And before we get into details, why don't you answer the specific questions we've had? There was a question about, on the architectural plan, some rooms to the rear that were not marked with anything. I believe they are the existing bathrooms. Lauren, if you could just show the floor plan one more time. So right in the middle, yeah, right there, Rob. Do those represent?
Okay, if you're walking down the hall, I mean, I don't know if you could, can you see my cursor or no? No.
No.
If you walk in from the dining room, okay, and you're walking in the hall there, the first to the left is a bathroom and the second to the left is a bathroom. Yeah, keep going. Whoever's got, yeah, right there. Those two are bathrooms. Two small bathrooms. The other, yep, they're just closet space. They're not, that's kind of not, that's in the kitchen portion of the building. So that's the only two bathrooms are the first two small ones that I just pointed out. Those two right there. Yep.
Okay. And then before we get into the layout of the remaining portion, Mrs. Ballmiller had a question regarding the front facade.
So I purchased that building, I don't know, whenever, I guess like Jim, less than a year ago, maybe a year ago. Next to, and I mean, I agree, it's atrocious. So I would fix the front, but I didn't want to do anything until obviously, we get moving and get approval here moving forward, but I would definitely fix the whole front. It's got like these fake pillars. I would take them down. I would just clean the whole thing up, obviously approval given, but I would make it conform with the whole, make it look obviously like one building.
So Rob, we have a architectural advisory committee in Beach Haven that does give guidance to applicants about any architectural design, trying to keep in with, the feel of Beach Haven. So if that's something that.
Be more than happy to do that. It's fine. Yep. And I think it does look, and to your point, it does, when you go there, you see the other place isn't, we put renderings in the window to close the windows up so you don't see a vacant space. We put like nice caricatures in the windows. I don't know if anybody saw them. But all the frontage, I like to keep the nostalgic of the chicken or the egg the way it's been with those shingles, or I'm not sure, shingles or brick or whatever it would be, top of my head, like the brownness, I don't want to change that, but I would like to, I guess I would lean on your board and lean on your group and see who, what kind of ideas they have to make the whole building, look nice. But no objection at all. I've put a ton of money in this building already. I mean, pretty much replaced, the full electrical, full roof. I mean, everything's been done in this place, and I'll do the same to the space I just bought.
So to be clear, you're going to be taking over the blue salon area, the part that was the C'est La Vie. with the 2-story, is that your space as well?
Yeah, so I bought, it's actually it's actually one building, believe it, and it has with a wall down the middle. The tenant, once the tenant's staying there, the clothing and house, I mean, it's like a Homes Good type of space, I guess. They've been there for a while and they want to stay. So that's why on this rendering that you look at right now, that's only, when you look to the left, that's only half the space. That would be just a salon itself.
Okay, that makes sense now.
So the other space, they're staying, they want to stay, they just renewed their lease again. And they're happy there.
And then also, what was your time frame for the pizzeria being open? It's going to be the same hours as the chicken or the egg? It's
The
going to be
operating
takeout
hours?
only?
I would probably, I guess that would be, it's a takeout place, so it would be takeout, probably along the lines of my takeout that I have now already existing. The hours there, give or take. I have to see the trend on what it is, but the space that is to the left of it is my takeout place for the chicken or the egg. I probably would run that according to the same time period.
What is that time period?
In the summertime, I think we open till, I got my manager in here. Maybe he could swear him and give him the exact numbers, the exact time period, but I think it's pretty much that it goes by the, how much, and I got to ask Serge. Serge is on this Zoom call here. You can ask him the time. I'm not exactly sure. What
Yeah,
time
not a
it
problem.
closed.
Yeah, so we in the summer we did
Let me
11
swear you
a.m.
in, Serge.
You gotta
Raise your hand.
get sweared in.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and your name and address and your position with the company, please?
Sergey Chagadayev. I'm the GM of the Chicken or the Egg, and I live in 257 West 18th Street in Ship Bottom, New Jersey. So the hours of operation were 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. On the weekends, we did 8 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Is this for takeout? Is
That
what
was
you-
just takeout, yes.
Right, okay.
But if I could say, like, I have to do it based on, how busy we are. We're obviously there to make money, so we would probably keep it to the time period of when we're not busy. And we wouldn't know that until I guess we open. Could be till midnight, could be to 1, 2. It depends on the time, but predominantly so to back up, like my company is based up, predominantly what I do is I own pizza shops. I'm award-winning pizza shops, best of Philly, 20 sometimes, best of South Jersey, about the same amount, not to boast, but so that's why we wanted to add that to this venue. But it has to go by, since my experience in it, it would have to go to how it plays out with the community and what time, how busy we are,
All right.
And Mr.
Anybody else?
LaScala, what the primary purpose for this expansion, if you could just get into that a little bit, to the restaurant itself.
So basically, well, the main reason the building I was able to purchase the building when it went up for sale. And it was just the main reason is for bathrooms. We have 2 little bathrooms and you see how busy we are, like literally, there's literally 10, 15 people waiting at all times. It slows down, the table turns, it does not accommodate the customer, that people get mad and so forth and so on. So when the building came available, I bought it right away. So I could, with the foresight of putting bathrooms in, the plan states.
Are the existing bathrooms staying bathrooms as well?
Probably for now. I don't know. They're not really they're not nice and they're very small. So I don't know. But for now, obviously I'll keep them. Not determine that later.
Okay.
So you have most of the new bathrooms in the new section.
Well, I mean, the idea was to keep, I mean, all bathrooms in one area so everybody knows where to go and, you know,
Right.
and, you know, and just, they'll be all modern, brand new, the handicap, ADA requirements, you know, so forth.
So there'll be 2 new men bathrooms and 2 new ladies bathrooms, and they will both be handicap accessible?
It's actually one large woman's bathroom, one large men's bathroom with 4 stalls in each.
Okay, got it.
With, yeah.
Got it.
I mean, it's overkill, but it's, you know, I have restaurants all around and with, you know, 250, 300 seats, I'll have this, I'm gonna build it, I wanna build it one time the right way. So I figured I'd build extra bathrooms so we don't have any problems.
Right.
I have a question. What is in that alley?
In the alley,
Yeah.
are trash cans and, cardboard cans. That's about it.
There's a shed, isn't there? What's the shed for?
I think, I'm not even sure. That shed was been there when I bought the place 4 years ago.
You don't use
I
that?
think we keep our linen in there or something. I'm not even sure exactly. But
Yeah.
it's been there, is that, you know.
And that alley does not go all the way through, does it? It stops at the cigar place,
No, it goes all the way through.
even to.
I mean, I don't know, it's not mine, but I mean, it's behind every
No,
building
but
there.
on the map, it doesn't show it going all the way through behind the real estate agency.
Well, it goes all the way through.
It does,
I mean, I don't know. That's that's a municipal question.
Frank. But does it go all the way through, Frank?
According to the tax map, it doesn't. I think it's been used
Right.
that way for all these years. But it
That's what
doesn't
I'm
look,
saying. It doesn't look like it goes all the way through at all.
now it looks like it stops at the end of lot 5 and doesn't
Right.
continue. So I don't know the answer to that, other than it's been used that way since the beginning of,
So like, if you look at that line there, you that whole area where it says lot 6,
right,
that whole area that's not boxed in, that is ground. It's just
Right.
ground. You know, it's like,
Oh, it's
people
not a.
park their car,
Okay.
I guess, not us, but it's the real estate people park their cars behind there. But
Right.
it goes all the way through, so.
Okay.
Yeah, where you see lot 5 and lot 6, that line that goes all the way down where it says wood fence, that line, there's no such thing as a line there. It's actually all open. If that makes any sense.
Physically, it goes through. There's a curb cut in the curb line of 3rd Street at the opposite end of the one on 2nd Street.
right.
It
No, I
physically goes
understand.
from one end to the other.
Yeah, I understand it physically does, but from a map standpoint, I'm not sure if the deed for lot 6 physically has that easement in it, but it's always been used that way.
Well, there's no wall there, so it's just great. Well, I
understand.
cemented mine with a drain. I put drains in there and make sure the
Right.
water flows and
Okay,
we did all that behind our properties. I can only speak for behind my properties. Pretty much everybody, the other properties, Cigar down to they haven't really done anything. There's just gravel there and stone.
all right.
There any other questions from the board?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I'm trying to understand that the back alley, let's just call it the back alley that's behind lots
Right.
1 through 4. So right now, currently the operation is anyone from all those properties are you allowed to have access to the other side off the curb cut on 3rd Street? Or you're not allowed to access your back alley, for lack of a term?
You can walk right through it. It's an alleyway. You could walk right through.
So are you able to have deliveries on 3rd Street and walk them in that way?
You could, yeah, that's how you could do that, yes.
But you'd have to walk on properties, lots 6 and 5, and do you have access to do that?
Well, the cigar shop, anybody on that block has access. I mean, they have I don't know where we're going with this, but the alleyway goes from one side to the other. I'm not sure why this map has like a little line there that you see. Other than that, this whole map is exactly correct. There's only that one line which says wood fence. If you can see that one word, and there's like wood fence there of lot 7, you can see that. That is not, there's not a line. I don't know what that is. It's not a, why there would be a line there? I don't know.
That's
Because it's
just
not
yeah, on the map, the tax map. as
I'm looking
well.
at the tax map.
I
Right,
mean,
that's
it's probably showing that the back of what's to each lot. I mean, I guess everybody, I don't know. I don't know what is responsible for that part. I don't know. I guess it's an easement though, but you could walk from 2nd Street to 3rd Street behind that alleyway if anybody wanted to. If that's your question, I'm not sure if I answered your question correctly, but that's what, to visually see that, you can.
So this alleyway is what, 10 feet wide, it says, is that
Yep.
right? 10 feet wide, it goes all the way through. You take deliveries on 3rd Street?
We do.
Through this alleyway? Is that how do you get deliveries?
We get them through 3rd Street, down the alley.
Down the alley. So the trucks come and park on 3rd Street, you unload, and stuff is rolled down the alleyway into the back doors. Is that correct?
It is.
Or 2nd Street.
And 2nd Street, yeah.
Yep.
So you take
2nd
deliveries
Street
both on
also?
2nd and 3rd?
I mean, honestly, okay, so to better help the neighborhood and the neighbor society, I meet with the neighbors constantly, and we've been pushing our deliveries on 3rd Street due to the fact of a wider street, less residential. So I took upon, after meeting the neighbors, on 2nd Street, most of them, on actually the whole area, because I inherited a lot of unhappy neighbors, and I'm trying to make everybody happy. So I've been working on that for 2 years now. And now we're taking deliveries on 3rd Street to satisfy all the year-round people on 2nd Street, which we don't have a problem with because we're here to, do the best we can for our neighbors. So if that answers your question, that's what we did.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
A question about the streetscape. What does the streetscape ordinance require as far as the planter and trees and street lighting, and what are they proposing to add?
I think they're just proposing to add the pavers.
No, a little more than that. We're proposing the paving stones across the entire 2 frontages of the property. We're proposing to reconfigure the curb and ramp at the intersection with a slightly larger radius and a detectable warning surface. We are proposing, we were proposing some street trees, 1, 2, 3, 4 in total, but we learned from the review letter that the municipality does not want us to install those. We are proposing Vermont Wood Studio bench. We're also proposing the appropriate refuse container as well in looks like 3 locations. And we are proposing a planter box along the frontage of the building at 3 locations.
Does the ordinance require street lighting, the street lamps that we see popping up?
Yes, this is Frank Little. Yes, it does, and they've indicated those on the drawing in accordance with the streetscape ordinance. So the only thing that we've been backing away from in the streetscape ordinance are the trees, because they're really occupying a lot of sidewalk area, and then with anytime you get flooding, it kills them anyway. And it's been a problem. So in order to keep the sidewalk more open, in talking to the town, we've decided that the crepe myrtle street trees in some of these areas are not appropriate.
So Frank, they mentioned planters. planters aren't a part of the streetscape, are they?
I know there was a planter box, but I guess we'd be working with the applicant to identify that exactly as to how we'd want them placed. We don't
Yeah,
want
'cause
anything interfering with the sidewalk, so we are gonna put these planters. I know they show a few in here, but, we would probably push them back toward the building. So there has to be some minor adjustments to this.
And the planters, have they been installed anywhere else in town?
Aside from Victoria
Uh,
Rose.
Nah, off the top of my head, no.
So is it, is it,
No, Rommel's.
are they
Rommel's has
movable?
the
Are they
planters.
brick?
I'm sorry, Rommel's has some planters, but,
Windcrest put planters out.
right. So they're removable, those planters. They're not
Right,
permanently fixed.
And
right.
is there going to be a continuous look to them? Like, is that something that's going to get implemented through the town? Meaning,
Well, I
like, is this,
mean, it's only going to occur when somebody comes for a site plan. And this is the first one, we've seen other site plans, but this is the first one that probably will be truly in conformance with the streetscape.
right? I was just like, how the bench is in the book and everyone's buying the same bench. Is the planner the same thing, or is the planner different in every
I think the
location?
planner is the same thing. There was a specific planner that the borough was looking at.
Okay.
There's a detail on the plan that shows the planter.
Right. I think so.
Because we did call out a specific planter model.
Right.
Yeah, I think the ordinance talks about a specific model. If that's the current ordinance.
Yeah, the earth planter.
Earth planters, yeah.
EPU 40, I believe it is.
There's a picture, page 4 on our thing is a picture of it. If somebody could scroll down, who's handling the pictures here?
Lower left corner of sheet 3 of the site there.
Right.
Go down.
Yep.
And there you
There
go.
you go.
Right.
There she is.
And you only have to water them every 3 weeks. You fill them with water and they water themselves from the bottom.
They're a lot more forgiving than the cement ones for people who like to nudge the curbs.
Right. All right, is anybody concerned about the increase in seats in this restaurant? This restaurant, as we know, has had lots of issues with people hanging outside with extra trash thrown around. I appreciate that the owner is trying to mitigate all of these issues.
I'm just curious, how's it been over the past year or two when we've really been really trying hard to make this
work?
We knew, I had I hired a security company on a third party security company. We had them all summer. We had a person scheduled to walk the two block area every day and every night to get trash, mostly picking up trash that's not even ours, to be honest with you. But just trying to keep informed with everybody and trying to be a good neighbor. I instill that in all my properties and all my restaurants. I'm not just saying that because it just makes for an easier life, So,
Right.
and that's the truth that, I'm not just trying to say it.
Well, I do think that everybody in town knows that you run a successful business. It's very popular. It's almost like the business is too big for the location. It's almost become like a cult, like everybody says, but you still have no loading and there's no parking. I'm a little concerned with the issue of another takeout. Because to me, when you have 2 takeout restaurants next to each other, you have constant movement of cars. You have constant traffic driving around 3rd and down Beach and around 2nd and down, waiting for a parking space, or they're double parked. Somebody runs in, gets the food, and hopefully nobody comes up behind them.
It's a sliced pizza shop. It's going to be for walking, people that are walking in the area. They're all walk-bys. There's bars, there's restaurants.
No, I think if your food is good, I think people will come and be ordering whole pies.
We're going to offer delivery. If you look at, so out of my 27 restaurants I own, 15 of them are high volume pizza shops. And what they do is we predominantly deliver. So like a place
Yeah.
like this is like more of a, it's like 75% delivery. 60%
So you will have delivery service.
We will.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. That was
Yeah,
not,
it's not made for me to have picked, like, just people walk in and get a slice of pizza. I wouldn't make any money. So we'll do whole pizzas is my thing. We deliver, that's our thing. I mean, if I could give you a breakdown with cash, with registers in all my stores at pizza shops that I have, and 75% are delivery and the rest is pickup.
okay.
I mean, like, not just all my stores. It's just the way the model works, unless, and especially the ones without any seats, obviously, because you won't make any money. Like, you know, it just wouldn't be worth it just for people to walk in, even the drive-by people. It just wouldn't work that way. So predominantly we'll be a delivery pizza shop, and we'll sell slices during the day. That's really big, you know, and at nighttime.
Last question I have, Ken, and then I'll get to you. Do you have any problem with removing that shed in the back?
Me?
Yeah,
If it make you happy, I'll move the shed.
I would just like to see the alley cleaned up.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I put a fence up there, a nice white fence with a gate for people to block that. I put a brand new, I cemented the whole thing, raised it, and put underground drain. And it's not even my product technically. And I did that so the water, we have no water backup ever down there now,
Okay.
which it used to have that, which would go on the neighbor's lawn. I mean, I've really done a lot in that back area. Yeah, we are struggling with a couple of issues. I mean, the shed would be no problem to remove, you know.
Okay.
Donated to the Beach Haven Township.
All right, Ken.
I have one question and one comment. A question on the southwest corner of the building where your pizza takeout is that strictly going to be an ingress egress situation with no window?
There's no window. No, it'll just be you
Okay.
walk in. You would walk in. There'll be like a counter with slices of pizza and takeout register, and
Right.
you know, that's it. And
Because I was going to mention if there's an ordinance that restricts us from putting windows in.
absolutely
Okay,
no window. No.
that clears that out. Second, you had made a comment about garbage. I happen to have a restaurant a block down the street, and every morning we call it during the spring through fall, the Cheg check. And I used to have a pink garbage can. The town, for whatever reason, decides it pulls in all the garbage. If you go down there's no garbage cans in this town. We roll up the streets. So I always had a pink garbage can for my patrons. However, the rule was when we left, we checked the can. If it was halfway filled, we'd empty it. If it wasn't, we wouldn't. And we were asked by the town to get rid of our garbage can but when we came back, and they are Cheg disposables, they were sticking out, they were blowing over. We had people urinating and defecating in the space between the bagel shack and shack. I went to the police and said, can you guys monitor it? And we ended up putting lighting in so that when people walk in there, it illuminates it and at least they'll be seen. So I will say that toward the end of the summer, it was much better than it had been in the last year and a half. But because of you guys, I specifically have a cleaning crew that we have to clean up between 5:30 and 6 before we open. And it's just Cheg debris, sometimes human refuse.
Like, when you say Cheg debris, you mean something that has our label, like our packaging?
Your takeout containers, your wings, the stuff is strewn all about. We power wash it down. We probably clean it during the summer 4 out of 7 days. And by clean, I mean power wash it.
Are there trash?
Yeah.
Rob,
I mean, I just see takeout. I mean, and again, I like the idea of the pizza takeout, frankly, but I just beg you. I mean, you say you have guys walking down the streets. I can tell you.
Where at? Like, can you give me, like, I'm sorry.
Between the bagel shack and the shack, if you cross the street and go north 1 block.
Yeah, I mean.
Are there trash receptacles on the sidewalk out front of the Chicken or the Egg?
They're on the corners, but if you go there now, the town has no garbage cans, zero, zip, nada. I guess they figure we don't eat during the winter. I don't know. And I'm not.
I feel your pain. I understand what you're saying, and I don't know how. I mean, I'll love to talk to you about how a way we can rectify it. I'd be more than happy to put a system in place. I mean, the unfortunate part of this whole thing is like, how do you? I can't get like I have a great time controlling my own kids, let alone people that I don't know. They grab food and they walk away. I mean, it's so hard to, you know. But I get what you're saying, and I'd be more than happy to sit down with some kind of a plan to. I mean, I fixed a lot of things, and I'm open to anything, and we could schedule somebody, or we could help power wash, whatever we got to do. I mean, if it's that bad, and
well, I think the police have been much better at the end of the summer. They were sending guys to walk by, and just having their presence walk by, kind of go in that nook area. There's 4 tables there. That's helped a lot by the summer's end.
So you say a nook area. Who owns that nook area? Is that your
I
space?
do. Yeah.
And what's in the nook area?
All right, enough about that. Anybody else have any other comments for the board? This gentleman? I do not feel that it's his responsibility to monitor what his customers do. He can't be responsible if they don't have enough class to throw things away in a trash can and do that kind of stuff. All right, that being said, any more comments from the board before I open it to the public?
No.
Can I have a motion to open it to the public, please?
Before
I
we
so move.
open to the public, I did have just brief testimony from Jeff Stiles, the professional planner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me just find it. Mr. Stiles, is that under? Oh, there you are.
Yep.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth?
I do.
And your name and address, please?
Jeffrey Stiles, S-T-I-L-E-S. Address is 46 McCullough Avenue in Morristown, New Jersey.
Thank you. And Mr. Stiles, you're currently a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, I've held a professional planning license since 1988, continuously since getting it.
And have you testified before this board previously?
I have, yes, on one occasion and on hundreds of other boards throughout my career here in New Jersey as well as other states.
Okay. Does the board accept Mr. Stiles' qualifications as a professional planner?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Stiles, so we're seeking a couple of variances here. There are existing nonconformities that aren't changing, but I just wanted to get some testimony on the record regarding those items. So first of all, the uses that we're proposing here are all permitted uses within the business district. Is that correct?
They are. The business district allows restaurants as well as other retail establishments, grocery stores, and a variety of typical sales and service establishments.
And the takeout pizza shop is permitted?
It is.
Okay, and do you have any comments relative to the parking situation?
Yeah, again, as with all the setbacks and the building coverage conditions, these are all pre-existing conditions. This building predates the current zoning ordinance, which was initially adopted in 1979. There's been amendments there too. But when these buildings were constructed and initially occupied, there was, the requirements were different, and therefore, we are considered to be non-conforming structures and non-conforming uses related to parking. There has never been off-street parking associated with these properties, which is not unusual for this area of Beach Haven and Bay Boulevard. The majority of the restaurants do not have off-street parking. Some of them do, relatively small parking areas, but again, they do rely on on-street parking throughout the year for their patrons to use.
And the proposed development here does not increase the amount of required parking, is that correct?
It does not. The ordinance here in town bases parking for any commercial use on square footage. It requires one space for every 600 square feet of gross floor area. And since we're not changing the gross floor area, we're just changing the use within. They all are the same parking standard, so therefore we have no greater or lesser parking standard for this use than was previously established for the ongoing uses that were there prior to this purchase.
And being that there are permitted uses in existing buildings, do you foresee any negative impact from the proposed development?
No, I mean, I know there's, some concern on some of the board members about the, additional restaurant use. I think one of the things that's important to keep in mind is that the additional seating and the additional space being dedicated to restaurant use will allow a better customer experience, but more importantly, shorter wait times. Typically, I've heard conditions here where people are concerned about long waits, people hanging out, lingering on the sidewalks, or possibly sitting in their cars listening to music while they wait for their table to be ready. This additional seating will shorten those wait times and hopefully alleviate some of the conditions associated with that. And importantly, as was indicated, allows the applicant to have fully compliant bathroom facilities. The facilities there now do not comply with code, particularly ADA. And one of the intents here is to bring those facilities up to code and to provide for reasonable accommodation of those patrons with disabilities. So I don't see any real change out there from a parking standpoint or a need for additional parking. And in fact, the uses, as I indicate, have the same parking requirement as long as they're a permitted use within the zone, which these are. So it's my opinion that a variance is not required because it is a pre-existing nonconformity that has been in establishment prior to the ordinance being adopted. And there are plenty of cases in New Jersey that acknowledge that as a pre-existing condition and not a variance condition.
Okay, and you don't feel that anything that's proposed would impair the intent and purpose of the zone plan or zoning ordinance?
No, again, the use is permitted within the zone. So there's, it's acknowledged that the governing body through its zoning recognize these uses as good uses for the business district. I do know that, the Beach Haven, along with the other communities on Long Beach Island, have been experiencing a lot of loss of restaurant proprietors over the years because of, a variety of reasons. And there's been a lot of concern. I have a lot of friends who live there who are always concerned that they're losing restaurants. And I think, this is the business district. Restaurant uses create a good amount of foot traffic, which then, helps other businesses in the area as far as other retail sales. And I think it's consistent with what the governing body envisioned when adopting the ordinance to allow these type of uses.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions. Any questions for Mr. Stiles?
All right, could I have a motion to open it to the public, please?
Motion, Tom.
Second, Penny.
Have anybody raise your hand in the public that would like to make a comment on this application?
I have two hands raised. Nancy, if you would like to go first.
Yes, hello, thank you.
Hold on a second.
My name is Pino.
Nancy, you
Hold
just have
on,
to get sworn in, okay?
Okay. Nancy, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, Lauren?
Yes.
Tell her to put on her video.
Yes, you need to have your video on.
That's why I can't see her.
Did she leave?
My name is Nancy Pupino.
Nancy
I live-
Pupino, excuse me, you need to put on your video so we can see you.
Okay, oh. My video was on.
No, we don't see your face, we see the moon.
That's actually Italy, but
Moon behind it, whatever it is.
All right, my video shows on my screen and it's on. And let me see, I'm checking.
Lauren,
Oh, wait a second. I did a virtual background. Let me take that off.
Thank you.
I was on it before. I don't know what happened.
Well, I'll tell you what, we will go to Kathy K, and then we'll come back to you and you work on that, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, Lauren, Kathy?
Hi, I'm Kathy King.
Kathy, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes,
Okay, and your name and address, please.
Kathy King, 326 3rd Street, Beach Haven.
Thank you.
I feel like this is an end run around the desire not to increase capacity. And adding a takeout restaurant right there in the gentleman's own comments. First, he said it's going to be a slice shot. Then he turned around and he said, no, it's going to be delivery. There's 2 other pizza places within a block of each side of that. It just doesn't make sense that you're not adding to an existing nonconformity with parking. You're not adding more people, especially in a pizza shop. It's just, isn't there enough? Isn't there ever enough? That's my comment.
Thank you, Kathy. Nancy?
I have been trying to work on this and switch
All
to
right, well,
gallery
never mind.
view.
Go ahead and give your testimony
Well, I'll
then.
tell you what, Bonnie, let's do this. Ma'am, would you please raise your right hand? I can't see you, but tell me you raised your right hand and I'll swear you in, please.
Okay, my right hand is raised.
Okay, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and please state your name and address.
My name is Nancy Pupino. I live at 223 2nd Street, which is directly next to the Chegg.
Okay,
My property, we share the same fence. So I'm very aware of what's happening on the other side of the fence, because that alleyway, that 10-foot alleyway, you can access it from 2nd Street and it goes all the way through to 3rd. And someone asked the question before, the Chegg had a concrete driveway put in on 3rd Street so that the garbage and deliveries could be delivered or picked up from 3rd Street. So you can go directly through to 3rd Street. I've walked it myself. That's number one. Number two, someone had asked about having the shed removed. What's in that shed is it's cans of old used oil that cannot be stored in the building. So that's what they have in those sheds. And they also have oxygen or some type of gas containers that are stored in those sheds. So I don't know what they're going to do with that if the shed is removed. I just wanted to include that. The issue with, and I speak for all my neighbors on 2nd Street, is that there is no parking. We're having such a problem with parking, and it's more intensified, especially in the summer. And that's why we sort of developed a coalition of people to start a dialogue with Ron and Serge so that some things could be remedied. The issue still remains that the employees are still parking in front of the residential homes closest to the Chegg. I know that the owner and the manager had spoken to the employees, but what happens, and I've told them who the employees are from the license plates. What happens if they're not parking there in the morning? They work 12-hour shifts. They go to the end of the block and they switch their parking spot close to the building so that when they get out at night, the car is right there. Now, some of these people are 30 years old. You know, I asked them, can't you walk another block to keep these spots open for us, you know, the residents? So that's number one. The other issue is that there's a drain pipe that's draining refuge water onto my property across the sidewalk. And when it's cold, it freezes. So it's a deterrent. It's a safety issue for people who were walking on the street. That still has not been corrected. The refuge that you're going to put on 2nd Street bin, it's going to be unsightly. Unless I don't understand it correctly. Is it just a refuge container for people who were passing by? I think that would be a great idea. But I hope you're not talking about the green carting dump type of carting refuge being observant from the street, because it really looked very unsightly. I think I have to be honest and say that since they have not been putting the tables out on 2nd Street, the refuge or the debris from the customer table has lessened to a degree. So there is an improvement in that regard. And I applaud the owner and the manager for improving that situation. And they do have employees who come and power wash the sidewalk, and employees who even go to the other houses and check for refuge. So I have to say that it has improved. But I think the biggest issue is the parking. It's still problematic. And I have a question. If they already have a takeout spot for the Chegg, why can't people go in and get their pizzas from that doorway? Why do they need to have an additional area for takeout pizza? That's just a question. And I don't know what the town can do about the parking. It's not entirely the Chegg's fault, but it is problematic to 2nd Street. That's all I have to say. I mean, I'm right next door to it. I live here all year round, and I see what's going on.
Thank you, Nancy. It was very informative. Thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. All right, Lauren.
We have Mr. Talty.
Morning or good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Talty. I'm an attorney. I'm licensed to practice in the state of New Jersey. My offices are in Moorestown, New Jersey. It's my pleasure tonight to be before you representing JC Restaurant LLC and JC Tavern LLC. I have some questions for either the applicant, principal, Mr. Lascallo, or Mr. Stiles. I can throw them out there and either one would be appropriate to answer, if that's all right, Madam Chairman.
Bob, he does not have to be sworn in.
No, he's an attorney, Bonnie,
Okay.
but I'll just ask whichever the two witnesses testify, just tell us who you are when you testify and answer the attorney's questions for us. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about, first of all, whether or not this is an expansion or an intensification of a non-conforming use, i.e. a commercial use that is being expanded by nature of operation. Mr. Stiles, would you agree that all commercial uses are not equal? And
I think.
I'm sorry?
Jeff Stiles, the planner, again, responding to the comment. I think, Counselor, under provisions of zoning, once an ordinance allows certain uses, and this one in particular, it doesn't even require additional parking for any type of use. It's all the same. It's my opinion that, we are not increasing the square footage of the building. We're not increasing the parking demand by ordinance, and we're not expanding the building physically. So therefore, I believe it's not an expansion of a non-conforming use. It's consistent with all the uses that are allowed in the zone, and therefore is allowable under statute as a non-conforming use.
Would you say it's an intensification of the commercial use that's
No,
presently
I would
there?
not. I would not.
Okay. With regard to the parking, Mr. Stiles, have you visited this site?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any provision being made for parking related to the pizza takeout? And or what we're hearing tonight is delivery vehicles. Is there any provision for that kind of parking demand?
No, and as I indicated, we are, advancing forward under a non-conforming standard that has been in existence prior to the ordinance that didn't require off-street parking. It didn't require specialized parking. I do know that there are 3 spaces on Second that are reserved for takeout. They're short-term spaces, I believe, and they're have been striped and signed for that provision. But again, it's not a requirement of the local ordinance.
Okay. Would the increase of seating by 60 seats and moving the restaurant operation into the salon space be an increase in the use?
No. Again, it is a use that's permitted in the zone, as all the uses I indicated. A grocery store, any type of retail, any type of restaurant or takeout is permitted within the zone. And therefore, it's my professional opinion that if we're not increasing the square footage of the building, we're not increasing the intensity of the use.
Let's talk about, again, staying with Mr. Stiles, the ADA bathrooms. Absent any renovations, would you agree with me that there is no requirement to install ADA compliant bathrooms at this time?
I'm not an architect, so I can't really comment to that. And what I indicated was it was a benefit to have fully compliant bathrooms and to provide for, use by those with disabilities. I think it's common sense as much as it is code requirement.
Oh, it may be a good thing, but it's not a legal requirement, as I understand it at this point, but we can agree to disagree. Was there any provisions or consideration of the apartments located above the buildings vis-a-vis accommodating parking?
Again, what we're talking about is not changing the use of the building. So therefore, if whatever uses are there and have been there prior to the zoning ordinance or legitimate pre-existing nonconformities.
Sure. Mr. LaScala, these are for you. Is it your understanding that the alley behind the buildings, the 10-foot wide alley, is usable by your operation pursuant to the easement?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, we to answer that question a little different. I don't really understand what you're trying to ask.
Well, in other words, would you be willing, as a condition of approval, to remove the shed, make alternative arrangements for your trash, and to agree to all deliveries, big or little, meaning tractor trailers or box trucks, be within that alley with no deliveries on 2nd Street or 3rd Street?
Would I agree to that? No, I wouldn't agree to that. I mean, I'm definitely getting rid of the shed, that's for sure. But other than that, I can't really agree to anything else.
Okay, so you would not be willing to agree not to have any deliveries on 2nd Street?
How would I don't know, really understand your question. I mean, we're not allowed to get deliveries in the front door. The chief of police told me that. So I don't know how else I would get deliveries.
You have a 10-foot wide alley behind your building, sir.
You just said not that I wouldn't be able to get deliveries that way.
No, I want you to agree. I'm asking the board to consider imposing a condition that you agree that that's where all your deliveries have to be, not on Second Street, not on Third Street.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, the alleyway is, only way to get to my property is to get through Second or Third Street. I mean, unless I come in by airplane. There's no
Well,
other way
you
to
can-
get in, like, how, I don't understand. I'm not understanding
think
the
that-
question.
I think the difference, sir, is where your delivery trucks park. Okay, if you want to have a tractor trailer parked on Second Street, that's what I'm just hoping to eliminate. What I would propose that the board consider a tractor trailer or other delivery vehicle be allowed to travel across Second or Third, but as far as parking and unloading, that occur in the alley.
So Mr. Talty, just so I understand, you're proposing that the tractor trailers pull within the 10-foot wide easement?
Yes.
I don't believe that's large enough for a tractor trailer.
No.
And it's not.
I mean, that'd be great if they could do that. If they could do that, it'd be great.
If we can't put deliveries in the alley, can we agree to limit the hours of the deliveries so that it does not impact daytime parking?
I mean, is that directed to me?
No, I'm sorry, yes.
I mean, I don't know how you can control delivery. I mean, we're trying our best. We've done this year to control our deliveries. I guess maybe if you tell me that what problem you're trying to cure, I can maybe figure out a way to fix it instead of kind of going in circles here.
Well, I'm just asking the question, sir. I'm not trying to be evasive, but I understand from my client that the parking of tractor trailers for unloading on Second Street can be limiting to other traffic, parking, pedestrians, bicycles, and deliveries to other facilities.
I understand that, and I have, that's been our biggest thing. We're trying, that's why we've been doing it on Third Street, which is a wider street and easier to get off the truck, and that's why we really haven't had any deliveries on Second Street. We tried to limit our deliveries on Second Street all summer long. Outside of a driver not knowing, a new driver that came and wasn't notified, every delivery we got this summer was focused on Third Street, not Second. And for that reason, because it's a narrow street and the Third Street was easier to get in and out for a tractor trailer. But it has to pull over. He's got to go on one side of the road. And we unload it. It seemed to work better for the two streets, Third and Second. Not so, we haven't got deliveries on Second Street or tried not to all summer.
So I leave it up to the board to determine whether or not they have the ability to impose conditions on any approval. But our proposal is that deliveries of any size be limited. If you can use box trucks and vans to deliver in the alley, we would propose that.
The shed is in the way. Something that's would be.
Somebody want to tell me he's muted?
Yeah. You're muted, sir. There you go. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was saying this is for Mr. LaScala and maybe Mr. Stiles. As to the streetscape, are you proposing a waiver of compliance with the streetscape requirements of the ordinance, or only a partial waiver as to planters?
We are not proposing any waivers. We were proposing to comply with the ordinance, and based on the municipal engineer's letter has indicated that the municipality no longer wants to have street trees because of the problems it causes, but everything else I believe we are complying with.
Aren't there existing planters along Bay Avenue between the subject property and, let's say, Murphy's?
I'm not 100% sure.
Mr. LaScala, would you know?
I don't recall any. but
I think
could be
it
wrong.
would ask the board, it's a little unfair to give the applicant a pass on planters when the other folks along that same stretch.
We didn't ask for
We're
a
giving
waiver
him
of
a pass.
planters. We agreed to put them in.
You
Okay, you
agreed
are
to
going to
put
put
it
them in. That wasn't clear to me. Thank you.
If I may, Pat McClellan, the engineer, the plan shows 4 planters proposed and has a detail on sheet 3 of what that planter looks like.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you, sir. Nancy Davis?
I'm here.
Nancy, I swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
And your name and address, please.
Nancy Davis, 25 Second Street, Beach Haven.
Thank you.
I first want to commend Mr. Lascala and his crew for running a very successful business and doing a good job. And also the idea of a streetscape is very exciting on my block. But one of my problems with this is the increased seating. This location has really this restaurant's outgrown the location. And regardless of the fact that we have a very minimal parking ordinance, which probably should be changed. But we're talking about a change of use of 2 stores. So those 3 lots were 3 separate stores. A beauty parlor was one, and a decorating gift shop, home goods store was another. So although Mr. Lascala bought these properties and owns them, we're changing the use of what these properties were. And that is increasing a lot of business. I mean, I know it's nice to have decent bathrooms and all that sort of thing, but 60 extra seats in the northern building is a lot.
It's actually, just so I can correct it, it's actually, I did my calculations. It's actually only 44 more seats, if that matters, because to gain access to the other property, we had to lose 12 or 14 seats in our existing dining room. I mean, I know we're splitting hairs here, and I don't have any, but like the reality is I need bathrooms in this space. I bought a building for $1.5 million so I could get basically for what? For bathrooms to better service my customer. If you people don't, it's very, if you would go there, you'll see how disturbing it is for customers. And I feel for them because I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. It's terrible that you can't use a bathroom. It's not good. So how they existed or all these years with like this, I have no idea. But I don't like it. And that's why I did that. Yes, I'm going to grab another 40 some seats just because it flows that way. I have 2 kitchens now because I have the takeout and the other thing. So it's going to flow. I mean, this thing is not I thought this thing through thoroughly. I have 2 full line kitchens as the plan states, so I can handle better. It's going to be just better service for the customer, a better experience. And just the whole thing is it's going to be a well-oiled machine. That's how my properties, that's how my businesses run. Obviously I'm here to be successful, but also I'm trying to do this for the customer, and anybody that goes there will know that. So, but I understand your points though. Your points are understandable, but if I could explain to you that the seats is the secondary thing, but not making light of it either though,
Thank you, Rob.
Let's
let Nancy finish her thoughts.
A couple other things. It is a change of use. I do appreciate the ideas of the bathrooms. I think they're very important. I don't object to the pizza place, although I sort of agree with Nancy. Why can't you serve the pizza out of the existing takeout area? I think the pizza, I'm curious, are you talking about doing like a fire grilled pizza? I've been to your other restaurants. Are you talking about the the fired oven pizzas or?
No,
No.
it's gonna be New York style traditional pizza, like, regular pizza. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be like my Lascala's Fire concept, if that's what you're saying. So it's just gonna be a regular, like your mom and pop pizza shop that you grew up on. That's half of my concepts are that way.
Well, a couple other things. The parking situation is really bad. The takeout spots were designated during the pandemic. Whether or not we'll have those in the future is debatable. Personally, I think it's not a bad idea to allocate some takeout spots as we have for the pandemic. I think it would ease up the situation. But it is a change of use. It isn't just the idea that, well, I own this property and I can increase the seating, because you are taking two properties and changing their use, which is a problem because of the lack of parking. I live on the street. I'm down at the other end of the street. It doesn't bother me as much. I have tried very hard as a member of council to try to figure out ways that we could have better deliveries. I mean, lots of cities have no parking from 3 a.m. till 7 a.m. on the main drag. So the deliveries can occur then, and a truck can pull up on Bay Avenue. But apparently, for some reason, we can't seem to be able to do that, which is unfortunate. I think there's got to be ways that we as a town, unless we change our parking ordinance, we need to come up with some ideas. I think we probably should change our parking ordinance so that restaurants require to provide more parking because they are a lot of people sitting in there that are taking up space. One of the thoughts I had would be if every restaurant in town that wanted to increase their seating were to allocate money for the town to purchase some property near the business district to allow a parking lot within a walking distance of places. Within a number of years, we might be able to provide some parking that would ease up the situation for the neighbors that live adjacent to you. I know that's not your problem, but it might be something that we can think of in the future to alleviate these problems. But it is a change of use, and it is going to increase the activity down there. I agree with the thought that yes, there's less people hanging around waiting. I just feel that it's unfortunate that you have such an successful business on such a busy, congested part of town.
Yeah, I like the opportunity to respond if I may. Pat McClellan, the engineer, and
Who's talking? Excuse me. Who's
Patrick
responding?
McClellan,
Rob?
the engineer.
Patrick?
The engineer.
All
Site
right.
engineer. And to the point that you're making, Ms. Davis, you acknowledge, I think what Mr. Stiles said was probably the most important thing that I heard as far as this is concerned, that it alleviates the waiting. But I think there's a bigger impact as a result of that, because there's a couple of things happening here. One is that as the business exists today, I'm looking at Google Street View, and even the Street View shot shows a whole line of people waiting to get in. So as the business exists today, you're already impacted by the parking of more people that can sit in that restaurant. So you're getting an influx of folks that are willing to stand online, park their cars and go stand online and wait for their seat. So respectfully, I think what you may see is that with the additional seating, those people will still come. So you're going to still see those vehicles, but they're going to go in and sit down. I don't think you're going to necessarily feel an influx of more people. I think that in good business sense, it is a successful business. So the applicant is expanding the business to handle the additional folks. The other benefit that happens is you're also losing the impact of the spa business, the salon, and also when the candy shop used to be there. Now those are two separate uses, and those are going to bring different people than those that are coming to the restaurant. So you're eliminating uses that might have actually exacerbated the traffic even further. So I just wanted to throw that out as a thought that I think you're already experiencing the impact of additional folks because they're willing to wait. The food's so good there. I've never eaten there myself, but I may have to do it. the impact of the folks that are willing to wait for that food. They're already parking there. So now I don't think you're going to get more folks coming down. I think you're just going to make a combination so that they can get in and out quicker.
Well, let me just make one comment in regard to that. The Chicken and the Egg has, for a number of years, had an app on their phone where you can make a reservation and they will give you a 10-minute warning before your table's ready. So you don't have to be standing in line, or you don't have to be standing in front of their store. So most people, like if I wanted to go to the Chicken and the Egg, I'd get on the app and I'd have a cocktail down at my house, and 10 minutes before they said I had a table, I'd walk down there. Or somebody might be shopping. The other thing is, it is a change of use. Believe me, the beauty parlor didn't have that many people in it all the time to take up a lot of parking spaces. Same with the decorating store. It was and I realize, I understand part of the problem is our parking regulation is not probably stringent enough to deal with the overcrowding that we're experiencing, but it is definitely overcrowding, and it is a very congested area. And my heart goes out to people that own houses right in that area. It's a nightmare. And that's all I have to say.
Are we using 3-minute limits?
Yes, hopefully. Who else? Lauren?
We have iPhone user. There's no name.
Yeah, this is John Harvey, 211 2nd Street. No.
Could you put on your video, please?
My video's on. I'm actually in the
Thank
car.
you.
Hey, Mr. Harvey, would you raise your right hand? If you're driving, don't raise your right hand. Are you driving?
I'm driving. I'm a passenger.
Pull over. Mr. Meadows said pull over. Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Okay. And your name and address.
My name is John Harvey, 211 2nd Street, and just a couple of points. And Bonnie, please don't enforce the 3-minute on me right now. We seem to be passive on it today. I live at 211 2nd Street. I live there full time. I'm right in the middle of the parking situation. I think what we have to do is, these are dilemmas. This is not like we could do this and then this will happen, meaning there's no right answer. And I think we have to look at history. I mean, Nancy spoke. Nancy was the mayor. Nancy had a parking committee. Nancy's committee came up with a trolley. Then, unfortunately, we got into COVID and didn't do that. But we said, and parking is a borough issue. It's not a business issue. Okay. We started talking to Rob about a year ago based on some real concerns we have. And they asked, he asked if we could funnel it to somebody. It was myself and another neighbor. Everything we have asked him to do, he has responded to. I had gone to the borough at least 5 times about parking on 2nd Street, not parking, delivery trucks on 2nd Street. I've sent them pictures over the years. He was the first one that said, you know what, let me figure out a solution. And the attorney, I can suspect who you're representing, but some of the trucks on 2nd Street today are not from Rob. They're from across 2nd Street, right? So if we want to impose that on him, probably the person that's going to have the biggest sacrifice is his client in that situation. And don't forget, in that situation, we let a building go up 117 with, I think, 6 spots, and 3 of them were cut out because we had to do a cutout in the driveway. And so I'd really ask you to look at this particular issue, and hopefully the current borough council, and I know some of you are on this call, are looking at this parking issue. And Nancy, that's a great idea. I agree with you, but we can't lay it on the burden. And 2 weeks ago, we're talking about having businesses and having walking, we having continuity. We can't put houses and breaking it up. And now we're trying to penalize a business owner who's trying to create more opportunity. And don't forget, I'm the person that has been yelling about parking forever, but I don't see that as Rob's issue. I see it as the borough's issue. And I think this time around, the borough has to get it right. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next,
All right, we have Jeff.
Jeff?
Hello.
So,
Oh, Jeff's one.
Raise
Sir,
your
raise
right
your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I swear.
Okay, and your name and address.
Jeff Roman, 220 2nd Street.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try to keep it brief. I think what we're hearing today is from the engineer and Jeff Stiles and Mr. Rabin. They all mentioned the same thing, I think, which is the congestion currently at the Chicken and the Egg. And I think adding the restaurant space where the current hair salon will help alleviate that issue. And the bathrooms are a big problem there for anyone who's been in there. So I personally don't have an issue with the restaurant expansion. It's just the pizzeria, because we're all saying the same thing. In the summer, the congestion is a major issue now. How is a pizza takeout going to, how is that going to help things when it's already an issue? Parking in the summer on 2nd Street is filled with employees from Bay really to North Beach Avenue, because what we have is the original Chegg, the Chegg to go, Buckaloo's and Station 117. We lost Buckaloo's parking with COVID. That lot is tented. So all the employees are parking really on 2nd Street from really, you have 4 restaurants. Adding a 5th pizzeria, there's really just no room. So I think the issue is just the volume, and then added to that's going to be the commercial deliveries. So it just becomes dangerous. Where in a takeout only restaurant where there's no seats, where is the trash going to be going? In the site plan, there calls for a trash receptacle, a garbage can, and a bench on 2nd Street. So what we're doing is really inviting people, as Mr. LaScala referenced, maybe at midnight, 1, 2 a.m., to come to a takeout restaurant, and in a residential area, they're going to have to eat somewhere in the street, on a bench. I don't know if that's going to be the objective of what the town wants in a historic district. So again, personally speaking, I think this is creating more of a, certainly more of a commercial element to a very developed property. Personally, as others mentioned, I know the owner and Serge have been really wonderful people to work with, and commend them. And how could you blame them for trying to expand a business? That's what I would do if I was in their situation. But I think it's up for the town to consider that this is not a half of a yard setback that someone is trying to get a variance. We're talking about, depending on the number, 15, 16, 17 parking spots where a variance is needed. If it was allowed, I don't believe a variance would be needed. So I'm not an expert in these type of things, but how are we granting a variance for that degree? It's not 1 or 2 here. So my only comment is, with 3 young children, it's just scary living directly across the street with all the heavy traffic. And I'm just concerned with a takeout pizzeria, how are these delivery drivers going to get in and out? Having to back up, it seems it's gonna really be a much more busier than it currently is. And then the late night element, which over the past summer, between the teen nights at the Marlin and then in Bay Village, there was some real concerns, and resources from the policing department had to be expanded to deal with them. I think adding again a place where the draw in a residential area is a little concerning. So again, that's my personal take. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Next.
All right, Chris Rutherford. Hi.
And raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth,
Yes.
and your name and address?
Tina Rutherford, 444 Center Street.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make 2 comments. One, I commend Chicken or the Egg and Mr. LaScala for trying to maintain our business district by using the spaces that are currently empty and trying to make them be usable. So I just wanted to make that statement. And I also wanted to respond to Mr. Tulty's statement about the deliveries that are impeding 2nd Street. I do know for a fact as well that deliveries impede Center Street also. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that there are issues there as well. So there are trucks parking in the middle of Center Street in the, let's see, I guess it would be the 200 block also. So those are my 2 statements. Thank you.
That's from the other.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, and then we have Jay.
Jay Kramer.
Mr. Kramer. Hold on.
Is he unmuted?
Mr. Kramer, can you speak up?
I am trying to.
Oh, okay.
We
Good
can
to
hear
sir.
you now.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
He's muted now.
You muted yourself, Mr. Kramer.
You muted yourself.
There you
All
go.
right,
All right.
several comments.
Well, your name and address. Your name and
Jay
address.
Jay Cranmer, 3rd Street, Morristown, New Jersey. When we expanded Buckaloo's, we were asked to address several important issues: parking, off-street loading, and trash. We responded by complying with the ordinance and have met all the requirements for parking, off-street loading, and trash. I don't hear anything tonight regarding how Chegg wants to handle trash. I don't hear how they want to handle off-street loading. Off-street loading has been a real problem for us when the trucks coming to serve Chegg block 2nd Street and trucks when come into our lot for Station 117 can't get in. So I think that, well, I have no objection whatsoever to competition. The more competition, the better, because it's more people coming to Beach Haven and we will all do better. But let's solve the structural problems. How are they going to handle trash removal? How are they going to handle the off-street loading? Someone mentioned, I think the owner, that 2nd Street was wider than 3rd. Excuse me, the site plan shows both streets have 100-foot right-of-ways. So I don't know what that issue is. The alley, from a functional point of view, seems to run from 2nd Street to 3rd Street. I think that the board ought to ask Chegg to develop a plan to handle their deliveries using that alley, and also tell the borough how they're going to handle their trash removal. We have gone to great lengths with Buckaloo's and Station to handle trash removal. And we've done everything we can to comply with all the requirements of the borough. And I think that when a restaurant like Chegg wants to expand by 2/3, and that's what it is, it's going from 100 seats to 160 seats, plus adding a takeout operation. They need to be responsible and do the same kind of things that you all have asked us to do. That's all.
Thank you, Jay. Any more, Lauren?
I don't see any other hands raised.
Nobody else? Okay, can I have a motion to close it to the public, please?
I so move, Penny.
Second,
I'll
Second time.
Jamie. Okay, guys, what are you thinking?
We just have a discussion about the garbage situation. I know that there's dumpsters back there. I do not know how many there are. I know that we've required in the past certain dumpsters to have like a compressor on it or compactor.
Can I make a comment on the trash? Because I'm not really quite sure what the guy that phones Bugaloo's, or I think that's who it was, my neighbor, is implying about the trash. I mean, I have extra pickups every day. We ask extra cans. We do our own. We pay for our own cardboard now. We get that removed. We applied for. We bought a process of getting a trash compactor and do all that, so we get the trash. The trash. I don't know I don't see the trash being a problem. No, it's a huge problem, but I think we tackled it all summer. Outside of, we increased every day a trash pickup, cardboard, regular. We increased 4 more cans. I mean, my trash bill is like enormous, but it's okay because we had to handle it. But I don't understand that part of it, and we'll continue to monitor that end of it and get our deliveries correctly. I mean, there might have been a couple pickups during the summer that were bad due to truckers, not because I don't know, that's the biggest, it's a United States problem right now with the the pickups with workers. But our end of it, we were scheduled, over scheduled more trash pickups. We have more cans back there now, constantly cleaning them, keeping them clean. And we put out for a trash compactor, of which we're trying to buy. We bought a couple, but because of what's going on in the world, manufacturing wise, they're taking time to get here.
Okay,
And
thank you.
also, yeah,
I just,
yeah,
so,
I'm sorry.
just so we have on record, and I know I've been to the property, so you have a dumpster for regular garbage, a dumpster for recyclables, and I'm assuming a dumpster for used fry oil, and not just in buckets, like
We have a company that picks up our Fire Oil Valley
Right.
protein. Yeah, and that's in a canister that all my restaurants have, same type
Right.
of big canister. It should be the real big commercial one that's good. We have several trash cans for recyclable and then several for trash. And we have pickups every day in the summer. And I haven't got, I keep saying on Second Street that I'm getting deliveries. We did not, I mean, outside of a mistake here and there because of our, whatever, we did not get any deliveries on Second Street this summer. There's a restaurant across from me, I guess it's Bugaloo's or whatever what it is. They get deliveries there, which is they're entitled to as well. But as far as the chicken or the egg, our deliveries were on Third Street, and they would go through the alleyway so we could alleviate the traffic jam that would be on Second Street. So I'm just trying to point that out because I know we spend hours working on this every day, make sure we have a worker out there, so that's number one. Number two, the trash was never, we have a thing in place for trash. I can show you the bills and the pickups and everything in place for that. And I'll do anything. Well, if I could get 4 compactors back there, I'll do that as well.
Okay,
There's nothing I don't want to do but make everything right. So that's the bottom line.
Thank you. I just wanted to clear that up. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
And also, if I could just have the opportunity for a brief summation before you get into further board discussion to address some of the public comments.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you. So I understand obviously the parking concerns, which as we all know is a borough-wide problem. But as we've stated, the parking requirement is not changing here. What the ordinance says regarding the parking requirement, a business shouldn't be punished for that and not be able to expand because the parking ordinance that requires off-street parking is 1 space for every 600 square feet of gross floor area. The uses are all permitted uses at the site, so the parking requirement isn't changing. There's a lot of these types of areas within the business district where you have almost a row of different businesses that are combined in one building or separated by walls. And it becomes dangerous where you're going to limit what somebody can do in one unit because they're adjacent to another unit that's successful. It presents a potential problem to me when you have an existing building with established parking requirements that aren't changing. Here you have an applicant that's just using the existing building that's there. There was comment about Station 117. That was entirely different. A completely new building was constructed there, and a site plan approval was granted with the construction of a new building. Here, we're just working within the existing footprint, and I think it's really important just that these are conforming uses. I know Mr. Talty at one point mentioned a non-conforming use, but these are all conforming uses. So I find it difficult to pick and choose commercial uses where you're going to allow, it almost becomes where you're going to rather approve a use where you're not going to have a lot of foot traffic. And I don't think that's what the parking ordinance was intended to accomplish. So, I think that the application addresses all of the concerns. Mr. LaScala has demonstrated that he's willing to work with the neighbors to do whatever's necessary to address their concerns. We're amending the application to remove the shed. The streetscape is going to be a vast improvement to that area as well. So I think that's important, and we would request that the application be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. Well, we got a lot of things to talk about here. One of the things that was
I've raised my hand. I'd like another make some
Well, it's
comments.
been, I'm sorry, Jay,
Comments
it's been
closed.
closed to the public. The comments have been closed to the public. It's just the
Oh,
board. Sorry.
well, Mr. LaScala made comments that are contrary to the
Well,
facts.
he's the applicant.
He's the applicant.
He may be the applicant, but he has made misrepresentations about my business. And I think I should be
We'll
able to
have take
correct
that
the
up
record.
privately with him. We're not going to get into the two of you going back and forth.
Took it the wrong way.
One of the comments that somebody in the public made, I think it was Jeff, that concerns me about the pizza takeout is the fact that if you have people late at night going in and getting a slice of pizza and then coming out, where are they going to eat it? And that is what creates, in my mind, street trash. So that's an issue I have right there. I don't have an issue with the bathrooms. I think that's a great idea. And I really, in the beginning, I thought I'd have an issue with the seats, the extra seats. But I do see where that would get people off the street rather than waiting in the street. So that may be, though I do think, though somebody said it's not an intensity of use, in my mind it is, because you're hiring more waiters and waitresses and maybe more cooks to cook and wait on these additional 60 people in the inside the restaurant. Maybe I'm incorrect there. But I like the fact that he's agreeing to clean up the back of the alley. He's going to have a hazardous waste problem, I would think, if all that it's filled with oil, and I would think somebody in town has to check on that. But those are I mean, he's trying hard with the extra work that he's done on the compactors and the extra pickup and the cardboard pickup. The pizza place, I'm concerned about the takeout late at night. That I don't know why they can't use the other takeout door, except I guess it flows better to come in and out one door in the corner and go out the door on Bay Avenue. And just keep it separate for operation inside. But that's really my concerns. The loading, I mean, if he says he hasn't been accepting any loading on 2nd Street, I think he's trying to work with all those people. I mean, the reality is, and the reality is the borough's done nothing about zoning off an area for loading for him. And I actually think it's very difficult to control deliveries. I mean, these trucks come down the island, they fill up wherever they do, they come down the island on their schedule. They're not going to say, oh, I'm going to drive 22 miles down an island and deliver at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm going to go back up and then come back down. That's not going to happen. They're going to do what's most efficient for their delivery. So I don't know if the town, like Nancy said, can find a spot from that is just warded off. I don't know how he'd ever know when his deliveries are coming. I just don't see it. I don't know what the situation is. But if he could get his deliveries in smaller vehicles rather than 18-wheelers, does he have how many 18-wheelers come down the road and deliver? I don't know. But I don't see where you can't get an 18-wheeler in a 10-foot square alleyway. It's not happening. So unless they're going to give him the space and give up parking spaces for that, and I don't see that happening. So those are my comments. Anybody else? Joe?
Bonnie, it's Frank.
Frank.
So the only question I had is looking at the plan, and I hear about this pizza slice takeout. I don't see why after a certain hour at night, that can't go through the regular takeout counter. All they would have to do is put a door through, and it would probably keep the traffic off the corner and bring it to the original takeout counter.
But you don't think, I mean, yeah, that could be a possibility, but I said, you don't think these kids are going to walk out and walk around the corner down 2nd Street and throw whatever
Maybe.
piece of paper they have in their hand? And I mean, hopefully, ideally, they would put it in the trash can that he has there, but
Right. Well, I was just a thought to keep the takeout
But I
traffic.
mean, it's an issue that the town has to deal with. Because you've got takeout places across the street. Another pizza place was approved. Anywhere that you get takeout food late at night, you're going to have trash with
Right.
kids. It's just a reality. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality. I don't know what you're going to do about it.
So you don't think it matters what door they go through, they're still gonna be on the street, basically.
Yeah, I do. I mean, in fact, I think they're going to go in, get their pizza, go around the corner and sit on that bench and eat their pizza. And hopefully they'd have the good sense to throw it in the trash can that he's going to provide. But that's not everybody's going to be sitting on that bench.
I was actually thinking, I don't think that bench should be along the residential side of that street there.
Yes, I agree.
I
Yeah.
agree too.
The streetscape only requires them on Bay Ave.
Then fine.
You're just asking for problems having that bench on that side there. Not because of the applicant, but because of just nature.
Just nature, hanging out.
Right.
All right, well, they can.
Active nuisance.
And I was asking just some of the questions about the easement and just trying to understand things as they are today. And try to understand lot 6 there. Because Frank, help me, both the site plan, the plot plan I'm looking at for the town and the site plan, the easement isn't going through lot 6. So if lot 6 sells, I mean, right now, I mean, they're able to use that, but are they always able to use that if
Well,
if
you're
everyone
correct.
agrees?
You're correct. I mean, we're looking at a tax map that shows that as a lot. That obviously, they drive through that lot and it's accessible, but if somebody bought that lot, unless there's a real easement in the actual deed for that lot, it's really not there. It's just been used that way for the last probably 40 years.
They may have it drawn that way because of parking ordinances, because there's a residence upstairs there too.
Right. But at
In
this
that real
point,
estate or the cigar store? I mean,
well,
the
the
other.
real
Of
estate
the cigar.
on the corner.
Lot
that's just
6.
Lot 6. I mean,
As an
Lot
apartment.
5 has apartments above it.
but it does have the easement through it. It's lot 6. It doesn't physically show it, other than it exists on the ground.
But is there some kind of piece of paper that has that they're allowed to use this if lot 6 sells? Like, is there always going to
No.
be access if you intensify
There may not be.
lot 1 through 4?
There may not be. I mean, the owner of 6 could turn around tomorrow, and if there's not a written document recorded that allows that easement to be used, he could put a fence up and close it off.
Well, that's not a good news.
I know it's not, but that's reality as to what it is. But it's been used and, everybody sees it that way, but physically on the plan, I don't see an easement through lot 6.
Well, the applicant really didn't say anything about increasing his delivery into lot 4 either. He's probably still going to take his deliveries into the main part of his kitchen. The only thing he may want to have egress for is his trash removal. But that's going to be all bathrooms back there. So he's still taking his trash out through the main store. Which just makes sense to me.
Right. And the trash trucks drive down that easement also to pick up the garbage, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, they back
The
down there.
trash trucks go down that easement?
yeah, I've seen
Oh,
them.
yeah, they have to. They have to back down to pick up the dumpster. So,
Does lot 6 want to sell their building?
well, I guess at the rate you're going, you can
And
buy that.
I'll make a beautiful driveway and no.
No, but how about, no, knock the building down and put a parking
I
lot.
was just
There
gonna
you
say
go.
that.
I'll do that too.
All right, well, we're waiting for that site plan.
So I think in answer to some of the trash issues, I know in the past, when it was just the chicken or the egg and the other 2 stores weren't there, it was the Sweet Shop and it was Windcrest Homes. There was constantly refuse from the chicken or the egg from the previous patrons that would leave the store in the middle of the night. We'd find them on the beach. We'd find it everywhere throughout the town. One of the things I think we need to look at for this plan is that he needs the garbage cans that are out front can't just be the boroughs. They have to be his, and he has to be able to have the ability to clean them. If they're a full trash can, you can only put so much in the bag, right? Otherwise, it's going to blow out, and somebody's not going to bother. If it's overflowing, they're not going to go near it. So we have to make sure that we have ample trash receptacles. He puts ample trash receptacles out front of the businesses for the takeout stores. And then the other thought, not just one. And I think the other thought too is at night when he has his delivery service, because he wants to have a delivery service, I don't think that's incumbent on the town to provide him a parking space. If he wants to do a delivery service for the pizza shop, he should use that little driveway in the back and nose his car in there, because it's only going to be a temporary parking spot anyway. They can run in, run out, and not cause any kind of hardship for the people wanting to come to the place.
But we don't know what kind of vehicle delivers his pizza goods. Is that an 18-wheeler or is that?
No, I'm not talking about for pizza goods. I'm talking about for his delivery. He said that he's gonna have a delivery service. He's gonna deliver pizza to.
Oh,
that. Yeah, for that.
Did anybody ever? I don't know what you suggest real quick if I could just say this. I mean, is there a way that we could put together like I'll give you an example of Center City District in Philadelphia. One of my locations, it's called it's a cleanup district. And I mean, I don't know if everything I'm hearing from this is all the trash that's all over the place from the restaurants. Kids are, getting it. And it's not just my restaurant, it's every restaurant, but it's like you said, it's almost hard to do it. I mean, can we put together a cleaning committee that the restaurants all have to put so much of a fee to, where they wear a certain jacket, it's actually a job, and they're out there monitoring the streets and cleaning up. I mean, we have that in Philly, we have it in South Jersey in one of my locations in a mall area that we have. It's almost like, I don't know, I feel like most of this meeting is about cleaning up the streets. So, I mean, I'm just throwing a suggestion. I mean, maybe we all have to put it and pay for it or something, but wouldn't that be good? I mean, offer jobs for this township or city or whatever, and they're out there cleaning that area. Because there's no way of stopping, I don't know.
Rob, that's something you need to go to council for. And
anyway, I'm just throwing an idea out. I'm not trying to change the course of the.
It makes sense.
But I'm just saying, it's like, there it is. I mean, now there's people monitoring the neighborhood. I mean, I'm just saying, just throwing it out there, not trying to get off subject here, but it seems like it's a subject,
Ken.
Yes, I have a couple comments. One of the comments that Nancy made, and it rang true, is we have to understand, I totally agree, it's a permitted use, and I don't disagree with the idea, but it is a change of use. And no matter how you slice it and dice it, the candy shop, Windcrest, whatever it is, it was Windcrest, sorry, and Salon Blue did not bring in the amount of people we have here. And the intensity of people that are going to be there, 60, 40 more seats, who cares? The amount of people needed to service those people, wait on those people, it's going to bring more people in. Then
what if somebody else bought that building and they use it as a total separate entity that it'll be it could be even 5 times, 10 times worse than that.
Rob, here's the thing. That didn't happen. You bought it. And
but now I'm doing an overflow and I'm helping. It's only an overflow. That's totally different than a new business. Somebody's going to buy that building and somebody's going to do they're going to do something there.
I was making an attempt to make a comment, and I would like the ability to be able to do that.
Rob, let's let Ken finish.
All right.
So the intensity that's going to happen with the people is going to increase. There's just no way around it. Also, if we're doing deliveries, whether you're bringing people in or not, the delivery cars are going to be intensified. That's going to be a problem. You're going to have to deal with that. The trash issue, I don't think it's not unique to every single solitary restaurant. We deal with it. We bring people in early, we clean it. You're so successful, you may have literally outgrown that building. And I just am concerned with the intensity. Adding these other things going to be a lot more intensive. And quite frankly, and this is a credit to your restaurant, but you occupy so many parking spots, other people can't get in. And that's our problem, not yours. But the point is you may have overgrown and you're overreaching to intensify the operation. And I don't know, it just seems like an overreach. That's my comments.
Bob,
Yes.
we had the lawyer raising his hand, but that's public
Oh.
comment.
Well, he can actually, since he's an attorney, he should be able to give a summation when you get to the point of,
He can
yeah,
actually,
yeah, you should let him, no more cross-examine of his client or direct examination of his client, but he can give a summation. This is Mr. Raven.
Madam Chairman, I just wanted to clarify a legal point that Frank was making with regard to how you can have an easement. There's usually three ways. One is on a set of deeds where it provides for an easement that benefits certain properties and burdens others. The other way is a subdivision plan or plat that shows the easement. But what we may have here is an easement by prescription, which is continuing and ongoing use over these lots, which may result in lot 6 being burdened by this easement, and they may not have the ability to block it at this point. Obviously, that's the less secure way to get an easement, but you can get one that way. I just wanted to clarify that on a legal point.
thank you.
Bonnie, I don't know how that helps his client, but I was going to give a quick summation. There is that easement by necessity. If it's been used for 40 years, as Frank said,
Yeah.
it's an easement, whether it's in writing or not. So I don't think it
Okay.
helps his client, but I think it helps the applicant to say that. But, this is an easement, whether lot 6 or is burdened with a written easement or not. If there's an easement through it, it's like these drift roads out in the middle of the woods. If people have been using it for years and years and years, they're there, whether there's something in writing or not. So
So are you telling me that the people that own lot 6 could not put up a fence and block that easement?
I'm saying it could potentially be, I'm not saying they won't do it. I'm saying that somebody could challenge it and they might lose it if it's been used as an easement for 40 years or even 20 years. It's been used that way for so long, and it cuts all the way through from 2nd to 3rd Street, and it benefits the property owners along both. So yes, very likely if somebody tried to shut that easement down, it's no different than if somebody's has a driveway through your property and suddenly puts a fence. If that driveway's been there for years and years and they put a fence up, that fence has to go.
Got it.
Same
Okay.
thing here. So,
All right.
that's by necessity anyway. Okay.
Any other comments?
Can I make one more? This is Tom.
Yes, sure, Tom.
As far as the intensification of that main restaurant, we talk about the idea of getting people off the sidewalk so people are not waiting. But we all know that nature hates a vacuum. And if there's nothing in that space, somebody will sit and wait to sit down. He's got a great business there. So I don't know that we're going to lessen the amount of people that are coming to that. We may, in fact, be adding more people into that spot. I'm actually less concerned about that spot than I am the pizzeria, but that's just my personal. I don't know if you understood what I could see your eyes. You're not really following.
No, I got it. Like, put the ones on the street in there, then more will come where on the street. I got it.
Correct. And if not, the people that are eating a pizza will sit and eat their pizza out in front of the store.
And it doesn't even help not giving him the seats and using it as a waiting area, because if he uses it as a waiting area, you think the outside spot will fill up with more people waiting. Like there will
Correct.
always be people waiting outside most people would love to have this problem.
Yes,
in their
he's got a
business.
terrible problem there.
Correct.
I mean, it's just, so, yeah. I'm more concerned about the pizza than I am the bathrooms and the extra seats. I'm concerned about the pizza place, but I don't know. It's has so many issues, but I do feel that he's trying hard to make it successful, and he's made an effort to work with the town. I mean, with the people in the town. And like one of the people that called in said, this is this is not, all these problems are not his problem. They're really the town's problem to deal with. And so, you know, the town needs to be led by the council members to deal with these issues. And by them not dealing with it, it gets thrown to us and we end up dealing with it. So that's the truth of the matter. So we have nobody else that has any more comments or before I ask for a motion.
I just was thinking too that I don't really have any concern, really, kind of, with going into the Blue Salon area, again, because of more people. But I do think it's necessary. The Blue Salon's not there. He's gonna move in. Great. We're gonna fill that space. It's gonna look good. He's gonna make the whole front look nice. I'm happy for that. And if it accommodates more people, that's all even better for everybody. I'm just concerned about the pizza place on a corner. Coming and going. Where are they gonna go with the food? And maybe he could turn it into a dress shop. I mean, I don't know. Maybe pizza is not the thing, and I don't know.
In defense of that also, I have to wonder, where do the people go now that get takeout from the Chegg?
In between my restaurant.
I'm one of them and I go home with my food. Hopefully most people do, but
I mean, you know,
there are a lot of young people that don't have a place to go. They
Right.
go to their car or they go sit on the street somewhere. I
they
know.
look for the closest place to sit. That's
Yeah,
what they look for.
it is.
Yeah.
And the pizza place isn't showing any restroom either.
Oh, that's
Oh,
because
it's
it's
pickup.
takeout.
It's
It's
takeout.
takeout.
You don't have to have one in takeout.
Yeah.
So,
So I know, well, that's a health department thing.
Yeah, we've been down that road before.
I just don't want to add something that's going to make our little town look shabby and, you know, full of trash. It just worries me, the pizzeria.
yeah.
But where do we go? I don't know.
Yeah, but Bonnie, I'm just listening here to all of this. And I see a lot of hypothetical becoming fact. That all of a sudden, because of this takeout pizza place, Beach Haven's going to become a dump. Okay. Well, it's this hypothetical and then this conclusion. So I think we have to kind of like think at more of a higher level here. The man is successful and his business shouldn't be punished because he's successful. Okay. When something's successful, it generates trash. Okay, fine. We all know this stuff.
Yeah.
Should the council say Beach Haven forbids grab and go? Well, you can't do that because human behavior, people wouldn't come to Beach Haven. Grab and go is the way things are today. Can we correct people's behavior? Can we program them that when they eat their pizza and crumple up their white paper plate, that they throw it in the garbage? No, but you have to think about maybe a bigger picture. The applicant is willing to do things that places like Disney World do, where you have hundreds of thousands of people and the place is pristine. And why is that? Because there are people around cleaning up the garbage. Maybe it's a town thing. Maybe it's a restaurant thing, the way Rob suggested, that the restaurants behave a certain way and they put staff on the street to clean it up. But I think what the applicant is trying to do, basically, what Jim Rayban had said, is that the man's trying to put more bathrooms in this place where people can go to the bathroom, so there won't be lines. Nobody mentions that. I mean, it was mentioned a couple of times, but the applicant is trying to improve the ability for compromised people to go to the bathroom, where you can't do that now. There are lines in the store. He spent money to expand his restaurant because it needs to be expanded. It's in demand. Okay, so I think that we really have to take a realistic view of this application. Sure, maybe there's some things that we can consider or put in the record that things have to be addressed. But overall, I tend to agree with the application. I think it's a common sense solution to what's going on. I just don't have, I know there will always be these issues. Trash, there'll always be trash issues. But we have to, I mean, whenever you have people, you have trash. I don't think it should be a rate limiting step for the success of a business. I just don't ever get that. So anyway, I'm sorry, Bonnie, but I'll get off the stage now. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate your opinion. That's what you're here for.
We have an in perpetuity issue as well. So Mr. Lascalia is a great employer. He's a great business owner. But sooner or later, he's going to probably want to sell. Are we going to have an issue with the next owner?
Oh, you're writing me off
With
already?
You know, you might want to move
I
to
have
Florida
four
one day,
sons.
you know?
I got 4 sons that are gonna be right there for me.
What about the
Okay.
issue with parking and his employers? Could we mandate that they cannot park on 2nd or 3rd Street? They can park in a parking lot or somewhere else. I don't know where else, but there is no public. I mean, could
I
they
think
park
if you mandate it just for the Chegg, then you have to mandate it for every other restaurant
other
that
person?
employs other people. How far?
Well,
I guess there
what about
is there
not parking in a residential area?
But how about all the other workers that are working for the other restaurants? Where do they park? Should there be a radius where if you're
I don't think
working
any employee should be parking in a residential area and taking up a space from a resident who lives there. They can park in the business district or anywhere else, but they don't need to be parking in residential areas in front of people's homes. I don't think that's necessary.
Somebody should put $50 in the tip plate at the church and maybe park up there.
There you go. Catholic
I
Church,
think-
there are lots of places that are empty for a lot of times during the day. Catholic
The
Church.
school playground.
Yeah. Bingo.
Yes,
Oh, God.
public parking right there.
All right. So nobody feels that the application should be split where part of it's approved and the other part is not, or you think it should all be as one with certain stipulations? Do you want stipulations? What do you want?
I personally like the application as is. I think that buying up those areas increase that continuity between 2nd and 3rd. I like the idea of a corner pizza place. Back when I was young and fun, I remember walking back from the bars in Philadelphia and getting a slice of pizza and walking back and walking home. So, you know, we always think the worst of people, myself included, but I actually think that this is a good thing as long as the applicant does seek advice from the Architectural Advisory Committee to make the facade look more appropriate than it does now.
I
And
agree
you
with
have
that.
no issues with trash.
I
Parking or
don't,
loading.
we can't create space here. I know that this is, it's a council problem, the parking and this and that, but we can't, it is what it is. I mean, we have businesses here that need to operate and we can't create parking spaces out of nothing. So if, you know, we'll work towards solutions. Every year we form a committee and we talk about it and we try to seek solutions, and we'll do it again this year, but that's not the applicant's problem.
No.
No, I agree.
As far as trash goes, we have a code enforcement officer. If trash becomes a problem, that's something that, you know, we can always be more stringent on that, but I'm sure that, you know,
Well,
Mr.
Jamie, can you help me with this? The council, the town really doesn't pick up trash for businesses anymore at all, do they?
They do not. That's
Okay. So the other question is, if anybody puts out one of the trash cans that are in the streetscape, they are responsible for emptying that. The town trashmen are not coming along to empty those trash cans if they put one on each corner or whatever.
right. That's something that would have to be worked out with Public Works, which I don't think would be.
They do.
Yeah, only the Public Works are going to pick up their own, the municipal.
And they just do residential from now on, right?
No, there are some businesses that put out cans and they'll pick up cans, but for a business of this size that have dumpsters, it would.
Depending on the size of their trash.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can have 3 recyclable cans, you can have 3 garbage cans, but if you exceed that, you're on your own.
Okay. All right.
I'll tell you, I'm concerned that the trash cans that are going to be on the streetscape have to be the responsibility of the business.
That's what I just said.
Just to make sure that's in the resolution if this gets approved, because at the Jag, it's going to get crazy.
I know.
It's going to be emptying these, they're going to be overflowing. I think the owner's got to take care of the trash where.
Absolutely.
You know, it just FYI, in some state parks, they got rid of trash cans
Mhm.
because they were never emptied and they were overflowing. So they said, we'll just get rid of trash cans. They won't have any place to put the trash. Hopefully they will take it home with them.
We can put that in the resolution, and then if the applicant doesn't do that, then we can now use code enforcement to enforce that.
And do we need the trash cans on the boulevard like that?
Well,
let me tell you, you know how much
Yes.
trash I
Yes.
pick out of my planters in front of Rommel's?
honestly, I had my trash can and it was filled on a daily basis. And
Yeah.
it would be overfilled by, let's just say, restaurants. And I was asked to take my trash can away, yet the town still didn't have trash cans up. So now the one trash can we had, there was no trash cans. I don't know what people were doing with trash, just letting it fly.
Yeah. No, I'm not against the trash cans.
But I think the trash cans aren't meant for takeout containers. They're meant for like something
weren't.
little, a
You're
drink or.
Exactly right. And that's why they got
Well-
filled up so quick at night, because they weren't designed or really supposed to be used for takeout.
And maybe we're just promoting people sitting in cars with all the takeout boxes.
Well, I think if the restaurant owners are digital, they get out there and make sure their trash cans are not overflowing.
I agree, Penny.
They just
I
have
agree.
to take care of it.
Right.
Police it, correct.
Yeah,
That's their job,
right.
not the town's. That's the restaurant's job. But I do think
Yeah.
town needs it. I mean, even when we have these open, like the art sale or any of that stuff, people come in and they get drinks and they walk down the street with a drink until they finished it. And then there's no place for them to throw it. And they'll stash it in a planter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need trash cans.
Jamie, are individual businesses allowed to have trash cans? What's that?
Part of the streetscape, Ken.
So, but wait, my question is, are we allowed to have it as a business, not the town?
Yes, I would think so.
We are?
You would have to follow the streetscape. You just can't put out a random trash can.
No, I understand, but we are. We could follow the streetscape and put our own trash can out there.
Why not?
Okay.
You have to take care of it.
In the streets.
Yeah, right.
Put out.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we're getting off topic here. We can discuss trash at another time. Let's deal with this application. All
So
right.
can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
The pizzeria part on the corner, can it be a part of the condition of approval that if the owner, can any pizza parlor go in there? If it's not, like, I'm trying to use the example of Triton and the Marlin. They were put together, the same owner owns both lots, but if Triton were to sell, they have no loading and no trash refuse area where that is, because the owner of the Marlin has all of that stuff back there. And nobody really thought about that at that meeting, that if you were to
How
sell
could
the
they-
two,
Well,
you get what
mean-
I'm saying? That easement in the back, is it for every lot there, even though the owner today owns all 4 lots? I'm just trying to make sure I'm thinking forward.
The easement is on the tax map, Nicole.
Okay, so all those lots have access to it no matter what, no matter who the
Right.
owner was. Okay.
Except lot 6, but
But they're saying that now is almost like grandfathered
Yeah.
if that was challenged.
right, but the other easement is for all the other lots. I just looked on the tax. map.
Right,
Right.
correct.
I saw that. I just wanted to say it out loud.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? Any other questions, concerns, wonders? Okay. Can I have a motion for approval or denial of this application?
I think we need to specify the things we're requesting now.
Well, we will as we go along, when we decide what's going to happen.
Right, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Whoever makes the resolution, the motion, just be a little detailed for me. We discussed,
Right.
discussed a lot of things in the last couple of hours, including the trash cans out front. So just-
Streetscape.
Yeah, the streetscape, the architectural that Jamie brought up, the architectural committee
Right.
looking at it. So just try to remember all those things.
Yeah.
And
Somebody write it.
Lauren and I are probably taking tons and tons of notes, so we'll try to.
Right. Lauren's got it all in her notes.
Sorry, Lauren.
Thanks.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, but it has to include all of the things that Mr. Shin said and all of the notes that Lauren has, because I can't remember all of those things.
Right.
But there has to be something in there about trash and about controlling that stuff, and I think that should be on Rob. And the other things that were mentioned, but I can't remember them all, but
Well,
so it's a conditional.
Does it bother anybody that employees are allowed to take up residential parking spaces in a residential zone?
Bonnie, just let me take a second there. I don't know how you show.
How
on
I
time
would
there. I
enforce
don't know
it.
how you'd enforce it. How would you?
You can't.
You can't enforce that.
You absolutely cannot.
You can't. And there's
Well,
too many
okay.
restaurants. You have to do it to all of them.
Could the owner, Tom?
He could have that as a condition with his employees.
Right. But he's
That
saying,
you
I
please
don't-
try to, it's like parking
Yeah.
in front of his store. He would say, no, but there's no enforcement on our end.
Right.
There could never be a
not
police officer
you.
going there. Yeah.
No, but I mean. can
And
we-
then, so if we don't do it,
Right.
code enforcement guy's not gonna be able to do it either then.
Yeah, I
And you
know.
can't, and you
It's
can't
a
have
tricky
one
one.
restaurant. You can't have one restaurant doing it and not all of them.
Right, it would have to be.
It's not
town
fair.
issue, right? A
All
council-
right.
I think a lot of the restaurants, everyone tries to
I got
encourage.
it. I don't like the idea. Okay.
No, I think a lot of the restaurants try to encourage carpooling, riding bicycles. I mean, you're really trying to not to intensify everything around you, and you're just trying to be conscientious of the small community that we are in, so that people can access all of the businesses.
Right.
Yes.
Bob.
We
don't
need a
forget-
second to this
No.
motion?
Let me just, some of the things you talked about tonight, I'll make sure everything's in the resolution. So just,
Okay.
okay, everything will be
Including the
there, and
shed.
I'll try to get it to you at least a week ahead of time so you can make sure. But some of the things were the trash, there are going to be some receptacles out front.
Yeah.
The owner will be responsible for, not the borough. The architectural committee will review the plans and it has to meet with their approval as well. Their shed out back is going to be removed. Deliveries will be limited to the extent possible to 3rd Street, not on the main drag or 2nd Street, to the extent possible. And we all understand errors happen. But I think he's testified, and I think nobody really said he didn't do it. But deliveries will continue on 3rd Street. If there's a small vehicle, he can go on the access way, he can do that. If it's a larger vehicle, he'll try to deliver on 3rd. And I think that's the bulk of the conditions that we were going to ask him for. He did mention 40 seats, I think, instead of the 60.
Yeah.
I think he said
44.
44. So, Mr. Raven, if that's okay, I'll put that in the resolution instead of the number, so the plan can be amended to show 44 seats in the pizzeria.
And I have one last little concern. Is he keeping the old bathrooms also or getting rid of those?
I'm not making it, I'm not doing anything at this time. They'll be there, but they're old and I have to revisit it once I see the flow and the use of the bathrooms, like the new ones, if it gets approved. I would tend to feel like these big bathrooms are gonna be great for everybody, and then it'd be like, who's gonna go to the
You're
small?
not going to want to
old
go to the
bathroom?
old ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll leave them there for now and entertain it.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility that your workers could use those 2 bathrooms.
I just built 2 bathrooms in my kitchen. I have 2 full bathrooms in my kitchen.
Okay.
I did, just to eliminate that as well. When I renovated the back, I did that as well.
Okay.
two
right.
bathrooms, not just one. I have two back there because it's, it's an issue. It was an issue.
Yes.
Because they were out using the customer's bathroom. Like it was crazy. Like this is why we're here.
All right, so we have a motion. We have a second.
I second, Kenny.
Kenny?
Right, Mrs. Baxter,
Yes.
Mr. Meadow,
Yes.
Mrs. Ballmiller,
Yes.
Mr. Pisano,
Yes.
Mrs. Eddles,
Yes.
Mr. Muha,
No.
Mrs. Lenhard,
Yes.
Mr. Jenna,
Yes.
and Mr. Tankquist.
Yes.
Application approved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bonnie, did we have something in there about the streetscapes? What he's doing to the front?
Yes.
I
that's-
haven't-
Yeah, it will be in there.
Okay,
The only thing, I guess Frank or whoever's in charge of the streetscapes, the planners, where to put the planners. That was
Yeah,
the only thing.
we'll check all those details. They're gonna have to work on the facade anyway with the.
Is there
architect.
the architectural thing in there for the facade
Yes.
so I get working on that right away? Can that be put in there?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be in the resolution and then we'll work with the streetscape with the facade at the same time.
Yeah, right, yes, that'd be great.
All right?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
you
Thank you,
very much.
everyone.
Good luck,
Thank you,
yeah.
everyone. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to adjourn? I think we're done here.
See you
Motion to
Friday.
adjourn.
Motion.
See everybody Friday night, I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
See you all. Good night.
Good night.
Everybody.
Good night.